Hello, hello.
We live?
We're live.
We're live, pal. Hey.
Oh, we're live. We're live. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, what's good?
Oh, I have sound on.
The Chill Meister J. Chris Perry back at it with a edition of Focus Fights audio. As well, first of all, let me not be a rude prude and just basically introduce the panel here. For one, we got Jay Wood, Southern California. As usual, he will talk in a second because he'll talk forever. But we got the new somebody else, involved with the festivities, and that would be somebody who has done a lot of work in the UK and Ireland combat sports scene. Izzy, why don't you introduce yourself?
What's up? Izzy DOA from CS Today News. Go follow us. It's in my name at CS Today News on whatever socials you use: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So I work for CS Today News, and I'm teaming up with the guys today from Focus Fights to give you this RIZIN 46 preview show, which I'm very excited for. I've done a good bit of research on this now, so we're ready now.
Yes. And by the way, Magic Duck says hello. Hello.
Hello. Thanks for listening.
What's up, man?
Yeah, we're basically ripping and roaring right now. But first of all, Jay Wolf, you want to say anything before I just get this going?
No, man, I'm excited to get this going. Really looking forward to this card. I can't wait for the main event. I just want to make sure we talk about how they're, it's Chihiro Suzuki, the only man to knock out Patricio pound for pound Pitbull from PFL Bellator. And with a win here tonight, it could set up a super fight at New Year's Eve with Patricio pound for pound Pitbull. Mike Kogan was on a show with Sakaki Barasan, the CEO of the Epic RIZIN, and he was talking about how he wants to continue the collaboration with RIZIN, and that he is definitely looking to match up Chihiro and Patricio again in the future. And you know me, Jay Krish, I've been calling for that all year, and last year, thinking it'd just be perfect for a New Year's Eve main event. So I can't wait for that. I just want to make sure we get that out there right away. That if Chihiro wins here, he's in a tough fight, but if he wins here, man, I could see his next bout being for a New Year's Eve against Patricio pound for pound Pitbull for all the marbles. It's going to be a massive super fight, and I really hope that happens. So that's really what I'm hoping for. But hey, he's got a tough opponent in Kanehara, so I can't wait to get into this with you guys. I mean, I can talk forever, but I can't wait to hear what Izzy has to say, because Izzy he's done research on this card and everything, so I can't wait to hear his perspective.
I was actually at the Bellator Belfast card that Patricio Pitbull was fighting on. I was there for media, and I asked him about a rematch with Chihiro Suzuki, and he said he wants it. So that's definitely something that I'm looking forward to. A lot of people are looking forward to. Could definitely happen in the future.
Absolutely. Oh, that was you that asked the question there?
It
nice.
Was, yeah. That was
Great work. Great
Thank
work,
you, man.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
And as we see, as the comments are piling, Johnson says, "Hey guys,
what's up, man?"
Hey, what's up, brother? How you doing? Great. Thanks for listening. Appreciate you guys.
Of course, in case you haven't gotten the memo, we are talking about RIZIN 46, the 46th event. Well, really, I don't know how many. I guess they're now the 50 plus total. Well over Pride and Dream had as far as events go. But this is the 46th number of events that they're going to have, and it's going to take place new Ariake. No, I wouldn't say new, because it's been around for 3 years, but it's new-ish. So, the new Ariake Arena in Tokyo, Japan, Koto City, Tokyo Prefecture, Japan, will be the host of RIZIN 46. The event will take place at a very special, very unique date and start time. It will air at 3 a.m. Eastern, midnight Pacific, 2 a.m. Central Time, of course, in my neck of the woods. And for our friend Izzy, it will air at 8 a.m. well, yeah, 8 a.m. on a Monday morning for you. It will probably suck because you will have to basically get there. Yeah, well, actually, no. You will have to probably take off work just to do
Well, no,
it.
it's on RIZIN.TV, so that it includes full replay.
Full replay
So
for 14 days. It does, yeah.
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 I will be watching it live, but yeah, for anyone who is from Europe and wants to watch it, pay-per-view has full replay for 14 days afterwards, so you can catch up on it.
Yeah, of course. So if you're basically having to dread the grind of the workday flow, you can watch this event anytime you want over the next 2 weeks after this event takes place. But I just want to let y'all know it will take place at 3 a.m. Eastern, 2 Central, midnight Pacific, 6 a.m. 8 a.m. Irish Standard Time on April 29th. And we got 10 fights. Well, really, 11 fights on this damn card. 10 in total from the MMA. Run them down as is right about now from the top on down. For the RIZIN Featherweight Championship, we got Chihiro Suzuki defending his title against the old man challenger, 41-year-old UFC, WEC, and Sengoku veteran Masanori Kanehara. In the co-main event, Juntaro Uchiku, the Fighting Bull, the first ever RIZIN Featherweight World Champion, one of the first 2 world champions, will take on former Olympic silver medal wrestler Shinobu, 16 Olympic silver medalist in Greco-Roman wrestling. In the in a 3-part series, it'll be a time-honored battle between Japan versus South Korea. 2 bantamweight bouts and 1 flyweight bout. In the 2 bantamweight bouts, Taichi Nakajima will take on former Road FC world champion Seo Kim, and Ji Yeon Yang, who will be fighting in RIZIN once more, will take on Kazuma Kuromoto. In the featherweight bout between those 2 bantamweight bouts, former RIZIN flyweight world title challenger now, I guess since the inaugural fight already happened, we can already call Makoto Shinryu Takahashi a former RIZIN flyweight title challenger. He will be welcoming See what I mean? I'm already
You're all good, man.
Yeah, just because it's live.
Though, Makoto Shinryu Takahashi, the recent RIZIN flyweight title challenger, will welcome Jung Hyun Lee to the RIZIN ring. Hell, to RIZIN in general, this will be JL's RIZIN debut. Meanwhile, the rest of the fights as is. Division. Yoshiki Nakahara will take on Viktor Kolesnik, and Sora Yamamoto will take on Ilko. The fight is still taking place. Itani will be taking on Ryo Takagi unless the card is subject to change. Hiroaki Suzuki will take on Ren Yaman Sugiyama in a fight that should be on the main. I don't know. We'll have to cross that bridge once we there, of course. Then Torrance, California, USA, but now fighting, living, training, and learning out of Japan, Tokyo in particular. Black Panther Bay Noah will take on Yusaku Inoue. Now, and one more thing. Atsuki Shinotsuka compete in a FC St. Bout. No good. Straight up boxing.
Jay Chris, your signal's kind of going. Your signal's kind of going in and out.
Damn it. Should I restart?
No, go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, you're good. It just cuts in and out a little bit. So
just as you started talking about the bare knuckle fight, it was gone.
Yeah, I guess they don't want me to talk about Tatsuki Shinotsuka's opponent.
Mr. X.
I mean, it's a big old TBA because we don't know who the hell he's going to face off against. More importantly than all that, everybody kind of who RIZIN was going to be sending out to Knucklemania, but I guess that's on the. I guess that's down to shitter, huh?
Well, no, that's Knucklemania is this weekend, actually in LA on Saturday night. I was gonna go, but I'm too old to pull back-to-backs anymore, and I got to save my strength for RIZIN 46 on Sunday night. But I think they're gonna announce who Rude Boy's opponent is for RIZIN 46 at Knucklemania. I think I'm hoping there's gonna be like a collaboration announcement type of a deal. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's this Saturday. I can't wait for that. And who do you guys think it's going to be?
Because that would basically make it not even a 36-hour time. Unless that somebody is already in Japan, secretly training under the Yakuza and all that. But unless that person is known already and, getting their training camp done, we don't know who Tatsuki Shinotsuka is going to be facing off against.
Yeah. So have you guys seen anything on like the BK? We've been paying attention to it in the Epic RIZIN Discord, and we haven't seen anything about any kind of hints of who it could be or anything. So that's a real question. Is it going to be somebody to fly straight out from Knucklemania on Saturday? I seriously doubt. I think they're already in Japan. They're just keeping a tight lid on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
a tight
and also before we go on the card, that's one of the most exciting things happening in mixed martial arts right now is this crossover collaboration with Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships with David Feldman and Sakaki Barasan, the Epic RIZIN. David Feldman does the BKFC. He's the CEO of them, and of course Sakaki Barasan is the Epic RIZIN CEO. And I'm loving that whole collaboration. They have some excellent fighters there. We saw Luke Rockhold just got a win in Karate Combat a weekend or two ago, right? And he's also part of Bare Knuckle. They got Eddie Alvarez. Just look at the Knucklemania lineup they got for this Saturday. All those guys are potential crossovers for the Epic RIZIN. So man, I just can't wait to see that play out. Hopefully, they're not only going to do bare knuckle fights, they're going to do some mixed martial arts superior rule set fights. Of course, when we're talking about superior rule set, we're talking about the Awesome Pride rules: sucker kicks, stomps, grounded knees, grounded up kicks, suplex, and 12 to 6 elbows. So I would just love to see all that from the BKFC fighters. So
I'd love to see Mike Perry. I'd love to see Mike Perry cross over.
Yeah, that'd be a great one.
That would be crazy. Yeah, he's a monster, man. He's violent. He's proper violent.
Imagine him under a superior rule set, being able to stomp people's heads
be able to kick them in the face on the floor. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Like a real fight. Man, that'd be awesome. Hope that happens.
Yeah. Before we even... obviously, we all know that the prelims going to be a little different compared to the main card. And I will probably go from the order of what's actually going to be the main event on down.
Okay, that's good.
Is what's up, guys?
That's my man. That's my people, man. Let's go. Come on.
Oh, nice. Oh, great. Hey, thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks, Izzy, for bringing all these fantastic listeners, man. Can't wait to hear what he's got to say with all his research he's done.
Of course, if y'all are listening out there, and I know it says it's only one person right now, but y'all want to share the word about it, go ahead and do so. Don't be shy. But still, back to the whole aspect of this card, we're going to be talking about the main event first, because, of course, it's the fight that everybody wants to talk about. It's Chihiro Suzuki versus Masanori Kanehara for the featherweight title. Now, just a little clarification on their, on the differences between the two. Just a little bit of rundown, so to speak. For Chihiro Suzuki, he will be defending his RIZIN featherweight title for the first time, if I'm not mistaken. He stands 5 feet 8 inches tall, weighs in at 145.25 pounds with 69-inch reach. At 24 years of age, he will hold a slight youth advantage over his 41-year-old opponent in Kanehara. Chihiro represents Crosspoint Kichioji out of Musashino, Tokyo, Japan. As for Kanehara, the UFC veteran, who has a big experience advantage and age advantage. He is 41 years old. He's been in a hell of a lot more fights than Suzuki has counted. And let's see here. 31 plus 14, that's 45 plus 5. So, 50 fights in total, plus no contest, which we don't really count. Anyway, he's been in 35 more fights than Suzuki. Anyway, 41 years old, 5'8", 134.9 pounds, will be bulking up to fight on this fight card. 67.5-inch reach, representing Reversal Gym Tachikawa Alpha, fighting out of Hachioji, Tokyo, Japan. Now, when it comes down to Kanehara, we all know the history behind him. He's fought some of the who's who of his heyday. He even defeated the late great Kid Yamamoto on New Year's Eve all those years ago. But the last time that this dude held a title, seriously, the last time this dude was a world champion, I think Suzuki was just, Suzuki was probably watching anime with his family at the time. But the point of the matter is, even though Kanehara has not held a championship since 2009, when he won the Sengoku Featherweight tournament, his comeback since leaving the UFC has really been a big, call. I wouldn't say a call to arms. It's more like the Benjamin Button effect in MMA, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. He's coming off of a fantastic win against Kleber Kyoki, right? The former champion. So that's a huge. You're saying he hasn't won a title, but that's just as good as winning a title, because Kleber, he hadn't been beaten. So wait, I think he had one loss before that.
One loss, but before that he was champion. So he's he beat just former champion recently by unanimous decision there most recently. So that's what's earned him this title shot now. But it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a huge win for him. So this is a gritty veteran that's challenging Chihiro Suzuki. So this is a huge test for him. So I can't wait to talk to you guys about this. I can't wait to hear what Izzy's got to say about it and his research.
Well, first of all, when it comes down to these fighters in general, of course, Chihiro Suzuki's undefeated in not really undefeated in RIZIN competition. 7-1 with one no contest in the promotion, but he's on a massive tear. Even though, of course, the fight with Kleber Koike was labeled a no contest because Koike is slightly.
He missed weight. Yeah. It's a no contest. I have an asterisk next to it on my notes here. So he's on an 8-fight unbeaten streak technically, but there was the Kleber Koike loss in there.
Because Japan, they don't mess around with weight misses. If you miss weight, you can't win the title, you can't win the fight. It's automatic no contest. They fine you, give you yellow card, all kinds of stuff. So you got to come professionally over there in Japan. Otherwise, man, they really stock it to you if you miss weight. So absolutely,
yeah. And of course, Chihiro Suzuki as well. He's got great kickboxing background. For any of you who don't know, he's the current knockout black lightweight champion in kickboxing. For those of you who don't follow Knockout have two separate rule sets. They have red and black. Red is essentially Muay Thai rules, and black is K1 rules. So he's a lightweight champion there or super lightweight champion, in Knockout Black. He's a 12-1 kickboxing record. He's 10 knockouts on his record there. So he has a big history of striking before. I know he's only had, however many 15 MMA fights, but he's also got 13 kickboxing fights, so he's got a bit more under his resume than it seems.
Yeah, of course, of course. And I mean, when you think about it, I did mention the whole age versus youth factor. Uh,
Mm.
Considering the fact that Kanehara hasn't fought for a world title in 15 years, I mean, would you say that time is not on his side compared to Duke, who pretty much got all the time in the world?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say so. I mean, like I said, Kanahara is 41 years old. Like he's not gonna. And you got to think as well. He's still. I know he's moved up weight class recently, but he's still fighting at 145. That weight cut when you're 41 years old has got to be brutal. It's not as easy as when you're Chihiro Suzuki's age when you're 24. So that's going to be an effect. He's not going to have the chin he used to, and with Suzuki being as dangerous as a striker he is, that could cause, big problems for him.
Yeah, of course. And Jay Wolf, you want to speak about this?
Yeah, I mean, Kanehara, like I was saying, he's a gritty veteran. He's got his fight with Kleber was actually sensational. He beat Kleber fair and square. And we know Kleber is no joke, right? And he out-grappled him, everything. Stayed out of submission, so he's got grappling. This is a really tough test for Chihiro. And I love how Izzy was bringing up that Chihiro is a knockout champion as well, kickboxing champion right now. He's a dual champion in 2 sports right now, kickboxing and mixed martial arts. Legit 2-sport champion. Man, it's just awesome. And knockout Izzy, they added a 3rd rule set to knockout now called Knockout Unlimited, where you can like do sweeps and stuff and take them to the ground and do like pride rules, soccer kicks and stomps and stuff. It's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
Knockout Unlimited is what it's called. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to check that out. Yeah. Speaking on that as well, back on Suzuki's kickboxing career. Obviously, he's been doing MMA for a while. He has decent grappling, but he doesn't have the grappling of Kanehara with such a extensive background. So many MMA fights where he will have been grappling heavy, and like you said there, he out-grappled Kleber Koike. So if Kanehara can close the distance, get a takedown, I know Suzuki's takedown defense does hold up a lot of the time, but if it doesn't, if Kanehara can get him down to the ground, that is somewhere where Kanehara could have Suzuki in trouble here. So it's one of those classic striker versus grappler matchups again.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just want to give a shout out to all the people commenting. Hey, thanks, brothers, for listening. Really appreciate you guys, man. Love seeing the comments as we're talking. It's just awesome. And Izzy, yeah, you're absolutely correct, man. This is classic striker versus grappler. Kanehara, he's bringing UFC experience and everything into this, and just that huge win against Kleber to earn this title match. I mean, this is a tough test for Chihiro Suzuki, and it's really going to show where he's at. If his grappling has, at least his defensive grappling has progressed far enough to where he's like, I mean, this is going to, I just cannot wait for this fight. And the implications for the winner, if Chihiro wins this, that sets up the Patricio pound-for-pound Pitbull rematch later on in the year, probably for New Year's Eve. That's just going to be a New Year's. And just want to say it again, Izzy, man, I'm so glad that you asked Patricio pound-for-pound Pitbull that question at the PFL Tour Belfast event that just happened, and you were there. That was Izzy asking that question post-fight. So thank you for that again. That's so freaking awesome that you did that, brother. That
was my boy Phil. He gave me that question, so shout out to him for that question. But yeah, when I asked Pitbull that question, he was all for a rematch with Chihiro Suzuki. So that would be absolutely brilliant if they can make that happen. If Suzuki gets a win here, and the New Year's Eve. I know it hasn't been officially announced as Bellator versus RIZIN, but Bellator going to Japan on New Year's Eve, it has to be Bellator versus RIZIN. So
yes,
I mean it would make 0 sense for RIZIN with their now robotic ass fight kits and PFL production to not go over to Japan on New Year's Eve and not do a show with RIZIN.
Absolutely.
No, they're going to. Did you guys see the interview with Mike Kogan on it was like some show, Japanese show with Sakaki Barasan and a couple others, and he was talking about how he wants to continue the collaboration with RIZIN and really take it to the next level. So I'm guessing we're going to see a bunch more PFL Tour fighters coming over. We just saw, you guys see for the June event, June 9th, RIZIN 47. They just announced some big time fights.
Banger.
Yeah.
Shoji Horiguchi versus Sergio Pettis. Brilliant.
Yes. Sergio Pettis is coming over. Brand new Bellator fighter to the Epic RIZIN. Juan Archuleta is coming back over. He's actually facing Kleber Quake, and they're both going up in weight because they missed weight in their previous fights. So and then of course Sergio Pettis is fighting like Izzy was saying, he's fighting Kyoji Horiguchi. I mean, these are some fantastic collaboration fights already, bro. So this is. I mean, I can't wait to see more. I think we're going to get even more for the next fight after that is Super RIZIN 3, and I'm anticipating a bunch of collaboration bouts on that. And RIZIN has sent over to Bellator on their next card actually May 17th. Yusaka Yachi is fighting on that one. So that's
basically goes without saying that Yusuke Yachi is definitely going to be in a tough test against Mansour Barnaoui.
Yes, that's going to be a fantastic. That's another kind of striker versus grappler type matchup because Barnaoui is a fantastic grappler as well from Road FC. And Yachi he likes to strike. He can grapple too, but he likes to strike more. So I'm really excited for that one. I hope Yachi can pull that off. That's a tough test, but that's collaboration between RIZIN and Bellator or PFLator now. So I'm just loving it. And Mike Kogan said on the show, said they're going to take that collaboration to the next level. So I'm anticipating even more announcements. I mean, I just love the ones that are announced for the June 9th event already. And like Izzy, like we're talking about, he said on that interview that he wants to make the Patricio Chihiro rematch happen. And you can see why, because that knockout, that was the first time Patricio pound for pound Pitbull's ever been knocked out. Chihiro knocked him out clean. They were both coming in the fight on even terms, both late notice, both at they're both featherweights, so the weight wasn't an issue, and they were both technically coming off of losses, right? So it was completely even in that fight. Chihiro Suzuki got him fair and square, 100%, knocked him out in a sensation. It was upset of the year and a knockout of the year candidate. Patricio's head literally bounced off the ropes, every single rope on the way down. It was so sensational. You'll see that replay. They'll show it at RIZIN 46 100 times, hopefully.
Of course.
That was just and then the way Chihiro won the title, doing the up kick, the superior rule set up kick of Kurama. Yes, see, Izzy knows what I'm talking about. Of Kurama.
Another one. Brilliant.
Yeah, up kicked him and it was doing all, knocked him off from the bottom. Man.
Yeah. Just want to say though, on that particular knockout, the ref, I don't know what he was doing. He should have stopped that fight way earlier. Suzuki had to hit him so many times before the ref pulled him off. It was crazy. But what a sensational title win that was. Literally only a minute into the fight. Up kick knockout from the bottom. And from my research, I could see it's not the only time I think it's the first time he's knocked someone out with an up kick, but it's not the only time he's ever hit someone with a hard, good up kick, and they're not easy to land. So that's something that, if Kanahara wants to wrestle him, obviously he's gonna want to wrestle a kickboxer that he's gonna have to watch out for. He's gonna have to keep close, leave Suzuki no space, because if he leaves Suzuki space, he'll frame. He's got his defensive jiu-jitsu is pretty sound, so he'll frame off and he'll get to space, and up kicks are coming right up immediately. So that's something Kanahara's gonna have to watch out for, man.
Absolutely, great point. And remember, in the Epic RIZIN, we have the superior rule set where there is no grounded fighter rule. So if Kanahara's got his knee on the ground, Chihiro can still up kick knock him out.
Still up kick him, exactly. Yeah.
That's one of the best. That's probably one of my favorite things about the Epic RIZIN is the superior rule set awesomeness, as I like to call it, or the superior rule set epicness, as I like to call it, because it's the best. It's the almighty Pride FC rules. Upgraded with 12 to 6 elbows, right? It's just, man, it's the best. It's the best there is. So it's so much fun. And like Izzy was saying, Kanahara's gonna have to watch those. I mean, we could see. Remember Anderson Silva and Yushin Okami, remember that no contest up kick knockout that they got?
Yeah.
we could potentially see something like that happen in this.
Mhm.
And look at Johnny. Absolutely, John. Pride never die, brother.
Pride never die.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. But we can go ahead and talk more about this forever. Obviously.
What's up, Phil?
I'm just Nick. How you doing?
Yeah, thanks everybody for listening, man. This is awesome, man. Izzy, you're bringing the crowd, brother. This is awesome.
Thank you. Look, at CST we're like a family, man. We all support each other with whatever we do. So this is big stuff for us, man.
Well,
awesome.
Hey.
And that was the same Phil that sent the question into you to ask Patricio.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
Awesome.
He's the head of CST. He's the brain behind the operation. He runs everything. So he gave me that question for Pitbull. Brilliant
awesome.
question.
Hey, thanks for that question, Phil. Oh, City Life Project is also here. Hey, what's up, brother? How you doing? Man, this is what an incredible show, Izzy, man. This is awesome.
Well, hey, I know that you can bring out the people, but hey, hopefully they can help us out some more. Now, let's go ahead and to the Fighting Bull, former Olympic silver medal wrestler.
Your audio's cutting out a bit there, man.
Yeah, audio's cutting in and out a little bit. Can you get to a better reception area or what? Or can you boost your reception?
I'm trying.
Hey, you got to pay your internet bill, bro.
Send you Ushiku, 5'7", 145.25 pounds, 8.3. Take-line and fighting out of Katsushikaku, Tokyo, Japan. He is 23-10-1 in the promotion. Excuse me, 3-2 in the RIZIN. No, he's 23-10-1 in MMA overall, 3-2 in RIZIN. As Michael Clean Dog is in the house.
Mike, what's up, man?
Coming in. But yeah, let me know a fucking allergic reaction. Shinobi 5-3 in martial arts so far, and of course, in addition to that, his 8 fights so far have been surprisingly in the RIZIN ring or cage. He is 5 feet 5 inches tall, 134.3 pounds. He will be bulking up for the fights. Representing Foresta Kashiwa and Kashiwa, Chiba, Japan. In this particular fight, Ushiku will be the one with the experience advantage, as he has been fighting more. He has been fighting about 7 times more than Ushiku as a professional mixed martial artist, despite the fact that Ota is slightly older, older than Ushiku. Ota's about 30 years. Ota's a little past 30, and Ushiku is 29. Now, let's go back and go on the specifics a little bit. Ushiku is coming into this fight, continuing to climb back a top title contention for the featherweight division. Ota is basically looking to be one of those Olympic medalists that made sense in MMA. How do you see this fight play out, Izzy?
Now, this is a tough one. I am a big fan of Shinobu Ota. I love this man. He's got a very, very fun style. He's explosive. He has power. He is dominant wrestling. Obviously, Olympic silver medalist in wrestling. I can't remember what year it was exactly. Was it 2016 or something? I think, or 2012 maybe, but 2016. Yeah. He was an Olympic silver medalist. He's coming to MMA now. He's 30 and he's only 5-3. But that's because he spent, his early to mid 20s in wrestling. So he's still coming in with a lot of fight experience, even though it's not MMA. But he, despite the wrestling background, he has a well-rounded MMA game. He has boxing, he has kickboxing, he has Muay Thai, he has jiu-jitsu, he has power, he has big punching power. When he knocked out Kazuma Kuromoto in about 27 seconds, that one of my favorite knockouts I've ever seen. That was brilliant. They were in the tie clinch and they both threw a right hand. Whoever landed first was going out, and Ota landed first. So Kuromoto went out, but it was, brilliant knockout. On the other hand, Ushiki, he's got that kind of, well-rounded kind of. I don't know who to compare him to, but he's got that boxing wrestling style, like a Piotr Jan, Ilia Topuria type style from what I've seen. He hits hard, he has solid top pressure, so it's going to be very interesting seeing these two styles of wrestling clash. The Greco-Roman wrestling and the pure MMA wrestling. Like they both have hands, they both have, knockout power. I thank you, Nick. Thank you. That's another CST member. Faceless again. Thank you, bro. But I have to go Ota personally, because I'm a big fan of him. So I think he can win. They both do the same thing. That's a con to them is, Ota kind of gets a bit carried away sometimes. He's so explosive, he gets carried away and he just forgets to defend. He'll come at you, pressure you, and leave his head completely exposed. Similar thing with Ushiki. He kind of, when he lunges in, he swings very wide and leaves his chin kind of right out. So if either of them do that, their opponent can capitalize on it. That's a big moment, and it'll be very interesting to see, like I said, how their wrestling styles clash. I'm gonna have to pick Ota for my prediction, just based off how explosive he is. I don't know if Ushiki can deal with the pressure that Ota brings. He's very explosive, very quick, very strong. He's kind of short and stocky, like kind of the Volkanovski build. So he's just brilliant, man. But I wouldn't be surprised if Ushiki also pulls it out the bag. They both have a great shot here, both great fighters, man. That's my thoughts now, anyway.
Okay, and Jay Wolf, what say you?
Nice, brilliant analysis there, Izzy. And
thank you.
I totally agree with you. I mean, this is I think these are two grapplers. Because I think Ushiku has, he does, like you're saying, he has both, but he likes to wrestle more, right? This is going to be a great. I just love the way you put it. It's going to be a great clash between MMA style wrestling and Greco-Roman style wrestling with Ota. And we're going to see who has the better grappling, who can strike. And I agree with you. I think it's going to be Ota because he has shown in his previous fights that he knows the assignment. And what I mean by knowing the assignment is he knows the superior rule set. He has a sensational knockout where he did three of the best superior rule set strikes. He got him on the ground and knee, a soccer kick, and a stomp, right to end the fight. It was one of my favorite knockouts. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just, man, so I'm looking to see who knows the assignment in this fight better. And I think it's going to be Ota, like you said. I think he's got the better wrestling, especially he's got the better wrestling credentials with a silver medalist. So I think it's going to nullify Ushiku's MMA wrestling. And then we're going to see who's got the better striking. I think it's going to be Ota. So but we'll see how it goes, though, because Ushiku is a former champion. So he's going to bring it as well. So he's no slouch himself, right? So this is a really good fight. You can see why they made it the co-main, and just brilliant analysis, Izzy. And shout out to the CST family showing up, to listening to us. I mean, and subscribing. Yes. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it, brothers. And this is just awesome. This is awesome. Yeah. I just can't wait.
And like you mentioned, Ushiki is a former champion, but he's also only still 29 years old. He's younger than Ota and has so much more MMA experience. So, he has over 30 fights. He's only 29, whereas Ota's got 8 fights and he's 30. So he's got the youth advantage slightly and the experience advantage. So that could come into play. If I had to give a prediction on what's going to happen, I think they're going to make a few shots. We'll see who's wrestling superior, but I think they're both going to be too good, and it's going to nullify, and it's going to end up on who's got the better boxing and kickboxing and who hits harder. And I think that's Ota.
Yes, agreed. Agreed. Brilliant analysis. Absolutely.
Thank you, man.
100% agreed.
Yeah.
I see. Now, when it comes down to these next three fights, I don't know if talking about them, individual would do it justice. So everybody knows Japan loves this. Everybody knows Japan loves their storylines, and they love to see, arcs play out like it's an anime or manga or something. But still, though, I was really surprised that they came up with this little idea to pit three Japanese fighters against three fighters from, I guess, internationally it would be called Korean, but to separate itself from the terroristic North, we call it the South Korea. And you know what? Let's go ahead and talk about these three fights in total, as this is basically a 3-fight series taking place on this particular card. First of all, these fights are going to take place after the intermission, so these will be the first fights you see coming out of the however many long break that RIZIN takes, depending on how long the first 5 fights take place. First off,
it's usually 20 minutes. It's usually 20 minutes now. They're not on Fuji TV anymore. They don't have to hit no 8 p.m. Time frame over in Japan. So they don't really have a set time they have to hit anymore. So it's usually only 20 minutes now for each intermission.
Okay.
So
okay,
Cool.
But the first fight we're out of that intermission, however much it will take, Philip Codex and CST supports everyone. We're all trying to make it. Hey, same with us. Same with us.
We appreciate you guys. Really. Thank you, brothers. Really appreciate it. This is awesome.
But still, though, going back to the fights real quick, Ji Yeon Yang will return to RIZIN competition, and he will compete in his 3rd RIZIN bout, taking on 14-fight veteran overall, 6-fight veteran in the RIZIN ring or cage, Kazuma Kuramoto. First of all, the particulars: Ji Yeon Yang, 5'7", will weigh in at 135 pounds for this fight with a 69.7-inch reach. He is 28 years of age, representing Team Ducking, fighting out of Jeju Province, South Korea. That is Jeju Province, South Korea. His opponent, Kuramoto, 37 years, 6 months, exact 5'4", 133.8 pounds with a 64.25-inch reach. He will have the slight experience advantage as far as number of fights go, 14 compared to JYY's 9. Representing Judo Gym, fighting out of Shinagawa City, Tokyo, Japan. Now for the second fight in the flyweight division. Recent RIZIN flyweight title challenger Makoto Shinryu Takahashi, also former ill-fated Bellator flyweight title challenger. The less said about that, the better. Makoto Shinryu Takahashi will take on the Phenom, making his RIZIN fighting Lee. First of all, the particulars for Shinryu Takahashi. He is 16-2-1, 23 years of age, 5'4", 125 pounds, representing Paresta Matsudo, Chiba, Japan. He will hold an experience advantage of, let's just say, damn near 4 or 5 times as many fights compared to his 21-year-old opponent, Jung Hyun Lee, who's standing at 5'5", 125 pounds, representing Sasabi MMA, the former fight camp of Hee Ham, aka Hamdele Silva, representing Seoul, South Korea. And of course, for all you classic Road FC diehards who used to enjoy watching Road FC out of, those old slots that they used to have on YouTube, you remember a fighter named Tyron the Anaconda Henderson, J. Wolf?
Yeah, it sounds familiar. I mean, I'm since we're live right now, I can't really I gotta bring him up to really remember him. You know, I don't want to Google him real quick, but it does sound familiar. Why is that who Soo Chul Kim beat for the title?
No. I'm just saying he is the only fighter of note so far in MMA these days, outside of course, a bunch of guys from South who made.
No, you know, it's another one, Jay Krish? Michelle Pereira in the UFC.
He
fought
in Road. He did. I remember seeing the clip. He did a backflip off the cage. That was crazy.
Yes.
yeah.
That was the one. That was.
Yeah.
I wanted him in the Epic RIZIN so bad. Imagine him doing a moonsault stomp off the ropes, like a WWE move.
He'd be crazy under RIZIN rules, man. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure he would definitely be welcomed into RIZIN. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the third fight that'll be a part of this trilogy of South Korean versus Japan. Good at Taichi Nakajima. He will be taking on Soo Chul Kim. And in the case of Taichi Nakajima, surprisingly, he's only fought twice in the RIZIN Ring Arcade so far. But at 29 fights, actually, at 30 fights in total, he will hold a slight experience advantage compared to his South Korean opponent. Nakajima, 17-12-1, represent Prevesta Tokyo, Nishi Tokyo, Tokyo Prefecture, Japan. 5'9", 145.5 pounds with 66-inch reach, 35 years of age. His opponent, I'm not sure from looking at his Tapology photo if he's the current or former Road FC Bantamweight champion, but Soo Chul Kim is 21-7-1 overall. 32 years of age, 5'7", 133.8 pounds with 66.9-inch reach, representing Road Gym, fighting out of Gwangju, Gwangwon Province, South Korea. But still, though, now that I basically ran my complete larynx out trying to read all these fights, I mean, I would ask, what do you think about these fights overall? But considering this is a 3-fight series, who do you think has the edge? The Japanese contingent or the South Korean contingent? Izzy, you start first.
I think first off, I think it's a very interesting concept. You see a lot in East Asian martial arts, like country versus country. You see in striking and kickboxing, Japan versus Thailand. You get loads of cards with that. Usually in kickboxing, you also get the cross promotion. I did an article on that a while ago. Cross promotion in kickboxing, where you had the K1 versus Rise fights recently. You had Rise versus Glory. You have a lot of that in the Japanese fight scene, kickboxing or MMA or whatever, right? So starting off with the first fight, Ji Yang versus Kazuma Kuromoto. That's an interesting fight because it's another striker versus grappler matchup. Kuromoto with the very strong striking, Ji Yang with the very strong grappling, and I have to say I was very impressed with both of them, but especially Ji Yang in when I was watching fights, researching for this. But we've also got to think Yang has, despite being a striker, he's a brilliant striker. He still has a submission threat. He still has he had a rear naked choke win over Shoji Mariyama in RIZIN. One of his 2 fights in RIZIN. He's undefeated in RIZIN, 2-0. So that's if he can get his defensive jiu-jitsu right in play against Kuromoto's wrestling, that could definitely, he could throw up a triangle, armbar off his back, something like that. He could do a sweep into mount, head and arm choke, Kimura armbar off that. There's all sorts he could do. Whereas, Kuromoto just has that pressure, heavy pressure. His brilliant ground and pound as well. So that's going to obviously cause problems for Yang. it's much easier getting punched in the head standing than it is on the ground. So you know, he's gonna have issues with that. They have similar records. Kuramoto has a slight experience advantage. He's much older. He's 37 years old, but he started his career very late. His first fight was in 2017, so he was 30 or 29 or something around that for his first fight. So that's, you know, Yang Yang's obviously got the youth advantage there. He's also got a significant height and reach advantage with being that good of a striker. That's massive. You know, Kuramoto might not even get near it. So that's a, you know, brilliant matchup. But that's hard to predict. I'd pick Yang slightly, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kuramoto, you know, takes him down to the ground. Big ground and pound elbows, huge ground and pound. He's got fucking suplexes and everything in his arsenal, so he could do some damage with the wrestling, you know. So Yang, who knows? Maybe he can't deal with that when it actually gets to it. But I also want to mention Yang is 10-1, but I have an asterisk here next to it on my notes because it's the same with Jung-Hyun Lee as well. For Yang, 2 of his 11 pro fights in road were under modified rules, which are 3-minute rounds. So that's obviously going to play a part with his just his overall cardio. So like it's kind of iffy whether they. I don't think Tapology count them on an official record, but some places do, some places don't. It's iffy. So sometimes you might see him on Tapology. It says he's 8-1, but on some places it might say 10-1 because of that. Just keep an eye out for that.
When it comes to guys' record, it's kind of beaten because of Road FC's for certain fights.
Mm.
Yeah, great tidbit of info right there, Izzy. Great stuff.
Thank you. But yeah, I've got I'd have to pick Yang for that fight personally. Just barely though. Like it's hard to predict. Well, Jay Wolf, what do you think, man?
You know, this is one of the. I love this bout because, like you were saying, they both got good grappling. What did you say, Jay Krish?
Well, actually, Jay Wolf, what are your thoughts about all 3 of the Japan versus South Korea fights that are going to be taking place on this card?
Oh, I love it. Have you seen how they're billing it too? Like they're advertising it like a separate thing, like almost like the co-main event. Like they have a like advertisements that they're sending out on Twitter and stuff, or X, whatever you want to call it, where they're saying it's like 3 versus 3, right? Japan versus Korea, and they're really playing it up about this, and you can be forgiven if you didn't know if it wasn't the co-main event. It's like they're billing it, you know, as like the co-main event. So it's awesome. I absolutely love it. Like Izzy was saying, I love how the Japanese pair, you know, have these pairings where they do versus, you know, like kickboxing versus MMA, all that stuff. Like Izzy was saying, and this is just continuing that. And did you see they were talking about how I forget who was tweeting it out about. The Japanese Koreans have beaten the Japanese like 15 times, and of these Korean versus Japanese matchups, right?
Right.
And in the Discord chat, King CeeLo KC, he was saying that he was pointing out a couple of them that Sudario got one over a Korean fighter, and Kai Azakura got one over a Korean fighter. So it's like it's not 15-0, it's like 15-2 or something like that. So we'll see if they can even up the scoreboard a little bit. But I'm thinking that the Koreans are going to take 2 out of 3 here because
I think the same.
You think so too?
I think the exact same.
Nice.
I think 2 out of 3. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean the guys from Road FC, Ji Young Yang and Suo Cho Kim, they're excellent, really excellent fighters. And like Izzy was saying, Ji Young Yang has, you know, he's great grappling. He's got submissions but he can strike as well. So, and Kuramoto, but we're going to see, because like Izzy was saying, man, Kuramoto's got that excellent wrestling game as well, can do suplexes in his arsenal, all kinds of good stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that one, kicking off this 3 versus 3 series. And that one could be a toss-up, but I'm giving a slight edge to Yang because he is younger, like Izzy y'all was saying, because Kuramoto is 37, right? So, I mean, the age could play a factor. We'll see. But I think also Yang is a little bit bigger, right? I think he cuts more weight
is.
to make that weight class. He is. Okay, great. So
Yeah.
that's how I'm giving Yang the edge in that fight because he's younger and he might be a little bit bigger. So I think it's going to give problems for Kuramoto with his wrestling. And I think Yang has a little bit better striking than Kuramoto. But we'll see how that one plays out. And in the second one with Makoto Shinryu, he's a former flyweight title challenger, and he'd be flyweight champion right now if it wasn't for Kyoji Horiguchi. Gucci 2 belts, right? So I mean, Gucci is just, he's one of the best fighters in the world, especially for the lightweight divisions. And he's rumored to be going back to the UFC. We'll see how that plays out. Him and Kai Asakura are rumored to be going to the UFC later this year, so we'll see how that goes. But Shinryu and remember their first fight, Shinryu and Kyoji, unfortunately ended in like a 20-second eye poke, right?
Yes.
So and then they had to see, and so they had to rematch that. And it was a great fight, but Kyoji, his experience, is just championship caliber fighting was just too much for Shinryu, and he got finished by Kyoji. So now Shinryu is looking to bounce back and looking to say, hey, that was an aberration. That was the exception, not the rule. I'm a great fighter, so he's going to come out here looking for something to prove. So I think that he's going to really get that W. I think it's going to be the W for Japan tonight. And hey, thanks, brother, for listening. Appreciate everybody listening in. Man. This is awesome. I love the comments, seeing the comments while we're talking as well. This is freaking awesome. So, and then for the quote unquote main event of this little 3 versus 3 series, I'm really looking forward to this one. I love Soo Choo Kim. He's one of my favorite fighters from Road FC. He actually, he was part of the original Bellator versus RIZIN event, right, in 2022, New Year's Eve. And he arguably beat Juan Archuleta. If he would have just had some more volume, it would have been undisputed. He would have beat Juan Archuleta, no doubt. And so, I'm really looking forward to seeing him back in the RIZIN ring and seeing he might also have a little chip on his shoulder, something to prove, right? Saying, hey, I actually beat Juan Archuleta. I'm the fighter in this division. I should be getting a title shot next, right? It shouldn't be going to the winner of Juan and Clever. It should be going to me. So I'm really looking forward to seeing if Soo Choo Kim can put a statement out here and get a real statement win, the sensational finish. And honestly, I want to see who knows the assignment. I want to see who is going to throw superior rule set, pride rule strikes. That's what I want to see. And I feel whoever does that the best is going to get these wins. And I think it's going to be 2 for Koreans and 1 for Japanese. I think Shinryu is going to be the only Japanese to get a W, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, the superior rule set is the great equalizer. It doesn't, it takes away, it doesn't take away any strikes, right? So it levels the field. Like in the UFC, so you can't strike on the ground. It kind of favors grapplers, right? It favors grapplers and wrestling. But in the Epic Rising, man, you got the grounded up kicks, grounded knee sock kicks, all that stuff. So it like evens the playing field, and it gives the strikers their weapons back. So I'm just really looking forward to this, seeing who knows the assignment. And I just love the concept of the 3 versus 3 and this Japanese versus Korea competition. It's just awesome. I love it. It's
brilliant, yeah. And going back again to that first fight again. I have just one more point on that. For Yang, he's obviously, like you said, he's got the size advantage, but he's a lot taller. He's 5'7" to Kuramoto's 5'4", and he's got a 69.7 inch reach to Kuramoto's 64.4 inch reach. With Yang's striking style, he's a brilliant striker. With his style, he's brilliant at distant management. He's a very accurate striker, and he's really good at counter striking. I think that is a big edge for him. I don't know if Kuramoto will be able to get near him to use that wrestling. That's a huge advantage for Yang in this fight. Moving on to the next one, like you were saying, Shinryu, former title challenger, brilliant fighter. And Jung Hyun Lee, I was very impressed with both of these guys researching them. Jung Hyun Lee is, again, he's 9-1 technically, but I think he's only 4-1 officially, because five of his fights were under those modified rules, the 3-minute rounds. But he actually fought Mark Klamaco on Road to UFC last year. The UFC's tournament format series to get Asian fighters into the UFC. He lost in the first round to Mark Klamaco, but he put up a brilliant fight. That was a very, very close fight. You know, the decision was it really could have gone either way, I think, personally. But you know, he lost that, but he bounced back and got, you know, went back on Road FC, got a first round head kick KO over Kilso Lee. Brilliant knockout. And just before his Road to UFC fight, he got another first round KO over Seigo Yamamoto in Road FC. That was also a brilliant knockout. This guy has brilliant striking. Really good striking. He's you know, great distance management, great feints. He has everything a striker needs. Like, he's a former kickboxer. He's 4-0 in kickboxing, so not that much. But you think he is more with how polished his striking is. It's so nice. He's got everything you need: distance management, feints, everything. Very technical, but he's also got that knockout power too. So he's got that, you know, in his back pocket. The only thing is he kind of lacks the grappling. His takedown defense is okay, but once he's down, it's kind of over. Like that was the thing with Mark Lamaka. Once he had him down, it was, for the rest of that round, it was finished. But his takedown defense is all right. So, you know, he could be able to hold up. Whereas, you know, on the other side, Shinryu is a very good offensive grappler, offensive wrestler. He has brilliant top pressure and ground and pound. He's very explosive, very aggressive. He's never taken a step back. He's never off you. So that's, you know, something where Shinryu can push forward and take that. It's a hard one to call. Again, it's one of those same matchup, same striker versus grappler matchup. They're both, you know, brilliant in their own areas. The only thing I worry about with Shinryu is in the striking, he's a little inexperienced, and he might rush forward and get a bit carried away, leave his head exposed, you know, and with how good of a counter striker Hyun Lee is, he can definitely take advantage of that. So that's a really hard fight to call. I might slightly lean towards Hyun Lee, but it's very, very close to call that one. And then on to the last fight in that series, Taichi Nakajima versus Sucho Kim. This is a very interesting fight. Taichi Nakajima, I know he doesn't have the greatest record. He's 17-12, but I think his skills reflect more than that record. Watching him, on my notes here, when he fought Ryo Okada, I know that was a while ago, but when he fought him, I have the most pros out of any of the fights I researched in that fight for him. I have like 10 things he did brilliant in that fight there, and only one that he didn't do great, which was that he kind of lacked defensive Brazilian jiu-jitsu. But in that fight, I have down, like, he had good punching power, sound striking defense, crisp striking, good use of feints. He had a solid takedown defense, really nasty, solid leg kicks. He was a good counter puncher. He had great distance management, and he had some okay offensive Brazilian jiu-jitsu. He had a bit of a submission threat, like, it was there, you know. So he's a brilliant striker, is Nakajima. And he's going up against Sujo Kim, who's quite well-rounded in the offense anyway. He's a decent striker. He hits hard. Cho Kim hits very, very hard. So he's not as polished as a striker as Nakajima is, but he still hits really hard. So if he could catch Nakajima at all, it could be over. But the one thing is here, Cho Kim has some very solid offensive Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, is the main thing I realized that he could take advantage of for Nakajima. Nakajima's defensive BJJ, not the greatest. He's not too experienced in the grappling from what I saw anyway. So I'm gonna take Cho Kim in that fight because they're Nakajima's slightly taller, but Cho Kim just got some long arms, so he's got a reach advantage actually, despite being smaller. So I'll take Cho Kim in that fight. I'd say, just because of the you know, offensive grappling, that I think that would definitely give Nakajima some trouble. So yeah, I think either either 3-0 or 2-1 for Korea. Going into this kind of 3 versus 3 tournament, not tournament, but bracket thing. The only one I'm iffy on is the Shinryu Hyunlee matchup. I think they both have a good chance of winning that fight. That's very hard to call. So, either 2-1 or 3-0 Korea for me, definitely.
Agreed. Brilliant analysis. Really like that, all that background info. But especially Lee, I didn't even know that Jung-Hung Lee was a kickboxing crossover. I love those kickboxing crossovers. That's awesome. Of course, in the main event, we got the creme de la creme of the kickboxing crossovers, Chihiro Suzuki, current kickboxing champion crossover.
Exactly.
So I love those. So great analysis.
A lot of brilliant strikers on this card, which is very exciting because obviously, we like striking. Seeing people hit each other in the head is very fun. So that's great, man.
Kickboxing cross, Jay Wolf, in the order of, the card is played out on RIZIN. I mean, English Twitter. No, we're not calling but order of festivities for the fight for the RIZIN 46 fight card. Speaking of strikers, we got Black Panther once again fighting his country, California, United States of America. He will be facing off against Yusaku Inoue, who will have a huge advantage against him as far as the MMA fight world goes. First of all, for Inoue, he is 11-4-1 by 35 years of age. He's presenting reversal G.
You're cutting out again a bit, Chris.
Yeah. Jay, Chris, you're cutting in and out a little bit, brother.
I don't know how I'm gonna be able to deal with it.
It's fine. We'll get there.
But still, Inoue, Yusaku, 11-4 overall, has more experience in mixed martial arts than Black Panther Noah has. 16 fights compared to Noah's 4, of which that's 4 times as many fights. But still, though, point of the matter is 5'10", 128 pounds, 35 years of age, 11 overall in the promotion. 11-4 overall in the day. His only win in the RIZIN fight.
Oh, man. Did we lose him?
Has he gone entirely? Oh no, he's back.
Oh, he's back.
Can you fucking hear me?
Yes. we can.
But still,
yeah, man.
The only fight that Inoue has had in RIZIN so far is his Kohei Tokeshi back at RIZIN 6 back in October, Nagoya, Japan. As far as Black Panther Noah goes, he's 28 age, 5'10", 160 pounds, originally representing the Naimasu Dojo, but also, and this might come as a bit of a kicker, so to speak, this resident of Tokyo, Japan, returned back to his home state, his home country, by way of the fact that he's from Torrance, SoCal. He went back to San Jose. He moved up to San Jose, NorCal, to train with a kickboxing academy, just to get not only his fight, but the rest of his MMA career. Aside from that stellar kickboxing career, obviously he's the former RIZIN 68 kilogram champion. And of course, he is 1-3 in mixed martial arts. All 4 of his fights have taken place inside the RIZIN Fighting Federation ring or cage. So now that I basically tried to, shake myself in and out of being back on this stream, some people can actually hear me. What are your thoughts going into this fight now that Noah is coming back to Japan with a new load of confidence from training at AKA.
Yeah, just before we get into that, I do want to mention the Tapology prelims are completely different order to the one on the RIZIN website. The one on the RIZIN website, the Yaman fight isn't there. I think that's off. And they just kind of switched up the order of the rest of them and added in the bare knuckle fight in the middle. So that's the one I have up here anyway. But anyway, onto the fight. But you know what? You know, I think it's good going to AKA because despite it being called American Kickboxing Academy, it's full of wrestlers. It's got, you know, all the Dagestanis there, Daniel Cormier is there. It's full of wrestlers despite being called American Kickboxing Academy, right? So I think that's a great, you know, place for him to be working on his grappling skills, because obviously he's got the striking. He's, you know, accomplished kickboxer, well accomplished, former RIZE champion, like you were saying. He fought on the Takaru Tenshin undercard in the Tokyo Dome, which is probably the biggest kickboxing event ever of all time. So, like, you don't get on that card off nothing, right? So, he's obviously an accomplished kickboxer. He's in a rocky start to his MMA career, but you know, with if he's focusing on the grappling training at AKA, with all those Dagestanis, with Daniel Cormier, with those guys, and there I know Leon Edwards goes there every now and then. Like, there's some quality world champion MMA fighters in that gym. So I think I'm hoping that his wrestling is, you know, his wrestling and his jiu-jitsu is much improved now after training there. For Inoue, I watched his one RIZIN fight. There wasn't too much to work off, but he's got the experience advantage in MMA, of course, but he is 35 at lightweight, whereas Inoue is 28. So there's, you know, that youth advantage for Inoue. From what I've seen, Inoue's got some good striking. He's got some great MMA striking. Very crisp astro striking, good distance management. From the fight I saw, I didn't get to see his grappling prowess, so I'm not sure how that's going to affect Noah Bay, but hopefully Noah has some better takedown defense this time around, better defensive jiu-jitsu. You know, what he really needs to focus on is the defensive side of the grappling, because he's such a brilliant striker. If he can keep it on the feet, he's sorted. He'll outstrike most of these MMA fighters, right? So it's hard to call because I don't really know Inoue's grappling prowess, but it's an interesting fight nonetheless, man.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's an interesting point, because that's what I was wondering too, is how good is Inoue's grappling? That's going to be the key factor, exactly like Izzy's saying, because I mean, Beno, he's coming off of a devastating knockout. I mean, it was so he's looking to prove something here, because the knockout he's coming off of was a hilarious knockout. Go look at it. I call it the stink face KO, because he gets knocked out so bad he's lying face down on the mat with like he just smelled a fart or something, just having like a PU face. It was so absolutely hilarious. Dude, it was so funny. And so he's looking to bounce back from that. And, you know, he, like Izzy was saying, just brilliant striker, former RIZE champion. So he's got the striking, and he has shown in his fights a gradual progression of his defensive grappling. It has been improving, noticeably improving in each one of his successive fights. So if Inoue here if he's not like a grappling heavy fighter, he could be in real trouble here, because I believe, like Izzy was saying, working at AKA now, against all those Dagestani wrestlers and Daniel Cormier and all of them, his grappling is going to be taken to the next. Definitely will be taken to the next level, because he was showing improvement in each of his fights coming up to this one, and now that he went over to AKA, it's just going to make his grappling shored up even more. So really looking forward to that. But he is susceptible to being knocked out, because, like I was saying, that knockout he's coming off of, man, it was a brutal one, and a hilarious one, the stink face KO knockout. It was just go look it up. It was funny, and so he's looking to bounce back from that. So I think it's going to be a striking battle. I think his defensive grappling is going to be good enough to keep it on the feet, and then we're going to see, his chin he's young, so he should still have his chin. So I'm looking for Bay Noah to get a bounce back knockout win here, and I'm really looking for, and I'm hoping he's repping America again, and because he's sort of like a flux fighter between the two countries, right? Because he speaks perfect Japanese, everything. So it's going to be real interesting to see how he walks out. They say he's from the United States of America, but I want to count him as a foreigner on this card, because if you notice this card right here, it has over 5 foreign fighters on it, and we've been loving we've been asking for the Epic Rising to bring in more foreign fighters, and there's some excellent foreign fighters on this card, and I want to count Bay Noah as one of them. So we're looking forward to this card, and Izzy's right. This on the Tapology has this bout kicking off the card, and they still have the Yaman fight as listed on this card, even though Yaman is injured, and he's been injured for like over a month now. So I don't understand why Tapology is neglecting the Epic Rising events, but
Tapology editors, if you're watching, fix that. You need to get on that.
Yeah, exactly. So, but this is a banger to kick off the card right here. Bay Noah, he always brings the action, whether he's getting knocked out or he's doing the one doing the knocking out, right? Yeah. So it's a right banger to kick off the card. So looking forward to it.
He's always exciting, Bay Noah. Out of his 4 MMA fights, despite losing 3 of them, none of them are bad. Never in a bad fight. So this will be a brilliant matchup, man.
Absolutely.
Of course it will be exciting, but there comes in the factor. I mean, let's just say, even though this as far as his combat sports resume is concerned, but he lose, and I know about losing fights or winning fights. All that matters if you fight worth a damn, and if you fight worth, you fight it back. But at 1-3 so far in his MMA, you think that if Bay Noah loses one more time, that he might have to shift his focus back to kickboxing, or is this all she wrote for him?
I don't know. I'd say, because he's still young, he's still 28. Like, he's still got a good few years ahead of him. He could stick at the MMA for a good while. It might be the move to, if he takes a couple more losses, step away from MMA for a while in terms of competition, compete in kickboxing, but keep training the grappling do that for a couple of years, compete kickboxing, keep training grappling until he thinks his grappling, or his coaches think his grappling is up to par, good enough for MMA. Then he can hop back into the RIZIN pool, but if he picks up the win here this weekend and he starts going on a run, keep at the MMA. Like, it's, of course, it's well known MMA fighters will get paid a lot more than kickboxers do. There's a lot more money in MMA. So that's definitely, if you want to make a fucking sustainable living, that's the way to go. Like, so that'll be, I'm hoping he can get a good win this weekend, good knockout, and keep this MMA career going for as long as he can.
100% agreed with Izzy right there. If he does lose, it depends on how he loses. But if he does, I 100% agree with Izzy. Go back to kickboxing and continue training your grappling, and then as you're fighting in kickboxing a little bit and shoring up your grappling, get even more better at your grappling. Then come back later, because he's like Izzy was saying, he's young, only 20, not even 30 yet, and he speaks fluent Japanese. He is definitely a fighter to bring back, even if he loses. And it depends on how he loses. If he gets like smothered grappling, then he's got, okay, it's time to go back to kickboxing. Time to train more, aka get that grappling even better before and like Izzy was saying, once the coaches are like, okay, his grappling is up to par, then come back to mixed martial arts. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think his grappling right now is going to be good enough because like I was saying, we've seen a progression of his grappling getting better each bout, even in his losses. So I think that now going to AKA, I don't think anybody's going to have enough grappling for him. I think Bay Noah is going to be good enough in the grappling after training AKA to keep it on the feet, and he's going to get the win right here. He's going to get the win, hopefully go on a little mini run right now in mixed martial arts. So, and this whole thing about if he loses, she go back to kickboxing, it's going to be a moot point because he's going to get the W here. And it's going to be awesome.
For sure, I'm hoping so, man. That'd be brilliant.
Yeah.
If y'all say so. Now, let's move to the fourth fight that's going to be airing on this card, according to the RIZIN Fighting Federation poster that they got from our good from Poland, chin might be broken after years of hard kickboxing.
That's true. He has a long fucking kickboxing career, man. Like he's gonna have taken a lot of shots to the head, and especially with that recent knockout, that brutal knockout. So that obviously that's gonna affect you, and you know I hope it hasn't been too damaging to him, but getting knocked out a few times, taking that many punches to the head, it's not good for you. So yeah, I'm hoping it's not affecting him too much, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is, unfortunately. But you know, the game's the game.
But, yeah,
I think his youth might play a factor in that because when you're younger, when you haven't hit 30 yet, I think it's harder for your chin to get cracked. Like if he was post 30, I'd agree and say, yeah, you know, his chin's done, but he's still under 30. So even though he's had some knockouts, I think he still will have a chin that will be good enough to sustain the striking of Inoue and get that knockout himself. So we'll see how it plays out.
For sure, that's a real possibility. That'll be class. I'm hoping for that. I really like this kid, so I'm hoping.
Yeah, me too.
Go ahead and do, you know, what we were talking about, and that was the fight that's going to be fought from the start of the card, and that is your Nakahara versus Viktor Kolesny. Or these two fighters stack up. Nakahara, 5'7", 145 and a quarter, 145 and a half pounds. 30 years of age with a 69.3-inch reach for Nakahara. Nakahara will be coming into this his fifth RIZIN Fighting Federation test after majority of his career in that downed one championship. Sorry, had to do it. Fighting out of Toshima, Tokyo, Japan, he will be coming into this fight with the lesser amount of experience, despite being 3 years older than his opponent, and would be Viktor Kolesny, representing the fourth fight gym, also fighting out of Tiger Muay Thai, I think. 5'10", 144 and a quarter pounds, 28 years of age, 25, 6-1 from Krasnodar, Russia. He is 2-0 in the RIZIN Federation. As far as his credentials go, and I'm looking down the list now, he is the former Serbian Battle Championship, Open Fighting Championship, and I guess M1 Global Featherweight Champion. Oh no, actually, he lost that M1 Global Featherweight title fight in Landwehr.
Oh, he did. Yes, you're right. I remember that now. Yes.
But still, though, even though Kolesnik is coming into this fight with the lesser amount of RIZIN experience against Nakahara, do you think that's gonna probably play a factor for him?
It could for sure, because obviously the RIZIN rules are different to any other organization in the world. They're the only major organization I can think of, maybe World FC do too, but that allow soccer kick stomps, you know, the prior rules.
I mean, come to think of it, I hate to interrupt you there. I hate to cut you off, but there's 3 promotions in the world that caters to that type of rule set. In addition to the RIZIN Fighting Federation, and in some cases, but
you cut off right as you were listening to them.
Yeah, you cut off. Oh no!
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Still, though, just as I was saying, aside from RIZIN and in some cases Road FC and Deep, the other 2 promotions that are Watore out of Poland, which I'm Sure, Mison in the comments, if you're still hearing us, you could probably attest to that. And the full dojo out of Thailand, ran by John Nutt.
I know that,
and also Daniel Zubicki is also a friend of the show. He also does the commentary for World Tour in Poland. So just want to give Daniel a shout out.
Nice.
He's also our RIZIN preview. So, but I think, hey, J. Chris, to Izzy's point, that the Epic RIZIN is the only major promotion to allow the full superior rule set, full pride rules like that. No other major promotion allows it like the Epic RIZIN does. And RIZIN is the only one that allows the full superior rule set with 12 to 6 elbows and stomps, in addition to the soccer kicks and grounded knees and all that. So that's what I think Izzy's talking about. He's totally correct. They're the only major promotion to do that.
Off the top of my head, yeah, for sure. I know that KSW did a Pride Rules fight, but they don't run the Pride Rules consistently. They had that kind of as a one-off thing on their KSW Epic event.
Exactly.
But yeah, so RIZIN are the only major promotion to seem to do that, for, as on the regular, as their regular rule set.
Absolutely.
Aye, but going back to the fight, They did actually on that same event. Yeah, KSW had the no holds barred fight as well. They're crazy in KSW, but anyway, sorry, thank you. But
going back to the fight.
Going back to the fight, yeah. So, Kolesnik is a brilliant striker, right? A lot of the Russians are heavy wrestlers. This guy's a brilliant striker. His leg kicks are brutal. He has a leg kick TKO recently. I think it was in RIZIN. He has a leg kick TKO. So he has that, and like in the fight I watched him was his fight with Ryo Takagi. He also had brilliant calf kicks, and that he swept Ryo off his feet a good few times with those calf kicks. He cuts off the cage really well. He keeps pressure and doesn't leave any space for his opponents to move. Brilliant kicks. He's not he has the boxing too, but his kicks especially are just absolutely brilliant. My only thing with him is sometimes when he rushes him, gets a bit too close, he kind of leaves his chin a bit exposed. He gets a bit sloppy. But if he makes it in clean, he has a great clinch game up against the fence as well. My only thing is with those kicks against a good judoka or wrestler, if they get caught, it's over. He's on the ground. He's getting wrestled. And Nakahara, his opponent, is a solid wrestler. He has great offensive wrestling. He also has good use of his feints and timing with his striking, which will also aid that because that helps him brilliantly set up takedowns. But even if he doesn't go for a takedown, that just works well with his striking. He's a great striker too. He's very, not just a wrestler, he's well-rounded, leans a bit more to the wrestling game, but he, is a well-rounded MMA fighter. So he is a little older than Volsinic and has less fights. So Volsinic is younger and has more experience, which obviously that's going to play a big factor, but not by much. Volsinic is 28. Nakahara's 31. And of course he's fought in Nakahara's he's 3-1 in RIZIN, he's 3-1 in One Championship, both major organizations with high level competition, and so I think if Volsinic isn't careful, I think Nakahara could take it. I wouldn't count out Volsinic. Volsinic's got some brilliant kicks, brilliant power too. He's knockout power, but Nakahara, I see him catching a kick or using his feint into a takedown and just, wrestling his way to a decision or, a ground and pound TKO or something, maybe even a submission. So it's an interesting matchup anyway with that dynamic of a heavy kicking striker and a very solid MMA wrestler. So I'd slightly lean towards Nakahara, but very, very fun fight, very close fight. I'd love to hear what you think, Jay Wolf, now.
Oh man, I love that. Now that's interesting. You're leaning towards Nakahara because I really like Kolesnik. He's one of my favorite. Like he's one of the international fighters I talk about, the foreign fighters or quote,
Yes.
whatever you want to call them. He's one of my favorites, and he used to fight at the lightweight division, right? And he's dropping down to the featherweight division. So, and his opponent Nakahara is really a tough opponent, like you were saying. Won championship experience, everything. So this could be a maybe a title eliminator bout. We could see one of these two fighters, whoever wins this bout, could be, if not next in line for the title, could be fighting a number one contender fight after this. Because I mean, these guys, these are really, really excellent fighters. I'm really looking forward to this one a lot. I mean, I'm hoping Kolesnik can pull off the W. Because like I was saying, I love the international fighters in RIZIN, and he's one of my favorites. I've followed him since he got in there, and just man, he's impressive. Like Izzy was saying, excellent striker, and I love the strikers. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how he deals with Nakahara's experience and his grappling. And this really is the fight. If Kolesnik can pull this off, it could take him to the next level and put him in that title contention, like we were saying. And same thing with Nakahara, because look, like you're saying, he's got a big stage experience in 2 different promotions. So, and this is a huge fight for him as well, because this is one of the top international fighters in RIZIN. So if he can beat him, he definitely puts himself in title contention as well. So I mean, I know it's not an official title eliminator bout, but to me, it's an unofficial one. That's how good this matchup is. I'm really looking forward to it, and I think that was brilliant analysis by Izzy again. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome, and I'm hoping that Kolesnik is able to pull off this W, because I really like him. So it's going to be fun.
I agree with you on the title eliminator. Like, Kolesnik is on a 7-fight win streak now. Nakahara is only on a 1-fight win streak, but he had the one loss. He had a few wins before that too. So it's a solid fight in the featherweight division, and the winner of this fight versus there's like the top of the card. There's two big. I think they're both featherweight fights. They are. Or the co-main event is bantamweight, is it? Yeah. But the main event, big featherweight title fight, I wouldn't be mad at seeing Nakahara or Kolesnik fight the winner of Suzuki Kanehara.
You know what? Speaking of, and we're going to skip over the bare knuckle fight, because I know that you probably carved into that like dinner.
Maybe. Yeah.
Fights that are going to be taking place. I mean, there is an abundance of featherweight action on this card, and the 2 fights that are going to be the curtain jerking fights are going to be one that's going to start off the card. Or Odo versus Ilkham Nazimov. That's going to be jerking. Now, let me go ahead and get the particulars out there for the Nishikani versus Takagi fight. Taisei Nishikani, 6-6 overall, 5'7", 5.5 pounds, 26 years of age, representing Japan's top team, fighting out of Toshima, Tokyo, Japan. He is 0-1 in the RIZIN Fighting Federation, 6-6 overall. His opponent, Ryo Takagi, is coming in with slightly less experience, 6-2 overall, also 0-1 in RIZIN, but he will be coming in. He will come in with the 3-year youth advantage, 24 compared to Nishikani's 27. He is 5'10", 145 pounds, representing Paresta Hachioji in Hachioji, Tokyo, Japan. And the fight, kicking off the card. Somebody need to call air traffic control.
Oh, can you guys hear that? Sorry, I guess that was a plane flying by. I'll mute it next time there's one flying by. I didn't realize that.
It's good, man. No worries.
But still, though, the fight is going to be kicking off. Tora Yamamoto, whose dad is a Pride and UFC veteran and the first ever shooter champion, will come in 9-2 record. Ilham Nazimov. Again, Yamamoto, 5'11", 145 pounds, 23 years and 6 months exactly old. 70.9 reach, represent Power Dream by Kyoto, Hokkaido, Japan. 16 overall, the former, it's still the fighting champion. Still a former Fighting Nexus and Zest champion, ZST for short. Nazimov, on the other hand, will come in with less experience despite being older. He is overall 29 years of age. Fighting out of Uzbekistan, fighting originally out of Uzbekistan, now residing in Magnitogorsk, Russia. He will be fighting in his second fight after he beat up the crazy Cameroonian Juarez Dea at Landmark 7 in Azerbaijan on the day before 27th. No, wait, actually on the day before my day. But still, though, now that we basically talked about these two featherweight fights in total, these two fights are going to be kicking off the card, and it's going to feature two sets of fighters who each have growing pains in the RIZIN Fighting Federation, or in the case of Nazimov, can only hope to grow. Which fight do you see? Which of these opening fights is going to be the main one to pop the crowd?
I think the second one. I think Yamamoto versus Nazimov. Sorry. I think that's a brilliant fight. They're both brilliant. From what I saw, I watched Yamamoto's fight against Suguruni, and I watched Nazimov's fight against Kazar Rostomov in UAE Warriors, which is a decently high-level promotion, broadcast on UFC Fight Pass. Both looked absolutely brilliant. Yamamoto has great timing and distance management for his striking. He hits hard as well, so he's a technical striker. He hits hard, and he has some offensive grappling. He has some offensive Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Not so much. I didn't see much of the wrestling, but I saw the jiu-jitsu. I saw him looking for submissions and all that. So that's a route he could go down. Whereas Nazimov, complete, brilliant striker. He has some unusual footwork, but it's really kind of like Dominic Cruz, like unusual but very effective footwork. He's great takedown defense. He hits really hard, and he still has a submission threat. So he's some offensive grappling too. So just a brilliant matchup overall. They're very, 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 very similar fighters. It'll be really cool to see this clash of styles. Who's going to be able to have a similar enough skill set, so who's going to be able to implement it the best to get either a knockout or a submission on the opponent fighter. They both have both in their arsenals, so that's very interesting. Yamamoto has the youth edge. He's 23 years old to Nazimov's 29. He also has more pro fights, so he has a youth advantage and experience advantage, but we've seen a couple times on this card, but you don't see too often in general. He also has more experience in RIZIN, so under RIZIN rules, like he has 6 fights in RIZIN compared to Nazimov's 1, so he has much more experience under the RIZIN rules. So it's very hard. It's very hard to call this fight. They're both absolutely brilliant fighters. I think Nazimov is slightly, the slight edge is the slightly more complete fighter. But Yamamoto has the edge in the youth, the experience, the familiarity with this rule set. So that it's just a brilliant matchup overall. I think that's going to be the one to pop the crowd and make some noise. Not to say that Takagi versus Nishitani won't, but I just think Yamamoto versus Nazimov is particularly a good matchup.
Okay, Wolf, what say you?
Oh, I'm 100% agreement, because Nazimov is, another international fighter coming off of the win, like you were saying, Jay Krish, in the Epic RIZIN Landmark 7 event in Azerbaijan. the Epic Rising's first international event that they held. Hopefully, they're going to be doing some more international events. I remember on one of his interviews with Scott Gabarasan was saying that one of the places they might be going to, besides the Middle East, would be Uzbekistan. And I think Nazimov, his country, his flag he's representing, is somewhere close there to around Uzbekistan, right? So he could be, if he gets a win here, he could be featured on that potential international Uzbekistan card for RIZIN. So there's a bunch of other fighters. There's just a recent signing of a fighter from I think it was Turkey or somewhere, right? That could also be featured on an international card. So.
And search that up while you continue talking, please. Continue.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Thank you. And I'm 100% in agreement with Izzy here. I think that the Nazimov and Yamamoto fight is going to be just, but they're both excellent fights. I mean, these two fights right here are between they're all 20-year-olds. They're all 20-year-olds. I mean, that's. I mean, these are young guns right here going at it. It's going to bring the action. I love that they're starting off the card this way. I just really feel this is going to bring the firepower right away, and the action is going to happen right away because of the, like I said, when you're in your 20s, that's considered your prime, I think. And these guys they all have experience. I mean, Nazimov, like Izzy was saying, he's only got one fight in RIZIN, so he's not as familiar with the rules. And also, that fight was in the cage, in the landmark cage, right? So so this is his first fight in the ring. So it's gonna be interesting to see how he adapts to the ring. And then Yamamoto, he's got the experience edge and the youth edge, just like Izzy was saying. Plus, he's got the ring experience as well edge, right? So it's gonna be real interesting to see how that plays out. But I'm really excited about Nazimov and the international fighters. I just love the international fighters. And Jay Chris, did you find that international fighter that just signed? Did you pull him up yet?
Yes, I did. The crazy thing about it is he is a bantamweight competitor, and that bantamweight competitor, and this announcement is not only according to our good friend from Poland, Daniel D. Zubek. It was that Ali Shaidulev.
Shaidulev. Yes, that's him. And he's undefeated, right? He's undefeated prospect.
From Beach, Kazakhstan, by way of
Kazakhstan. Interesting.
Oh, nice. So that's another candidate for the international event if it's in Uzbekistan or even in the Middle East. Like I think they were saying somewhere like the UAE or Saudi Arabia or somewhere like that, right? So these would be perfect candidates for that international event that's hopefully coming later this year. And I'm really looking to see if Nazimov can put up a statement right now and beat Yamamoto in his first ring event, right? I think he's going to be featured prominently on that international event because really, I mean, this featherweight division is one of the premier divisions in the Epic Rising. Chihiro Suzuki is a budding superstar, right? And if he can pull off this win against Kanehara in the main event, it's going to be lead to that super fight with Patricio pound for pound Pitbull at the end of the year. Because even though that hasn't been officially announced, it was announced. They released a graphic and everything saying that Bellator, the PF Bellator, we're going to do a December 31st event in the Saitama Super Arena. So it's pretty much confirmed.
He's got mute.
But still, though, we already talked about the main event, Jay, and I'm sorry I had to put you on mute. We all know that the main event is going to be epic, but, I don't even think you talked about the second fight that's going to be kicking off the card. I think it's Nishitani versus Takagi. What are your thoughts about that one?
Well, yeah, no, always I bring up the main events because it's the featherweight bout, right? These are two featherweight bouts. So that was the only reason. But anyways, yeah, it's going to be awesome. Like I was saying, it's between two 20-year-olds. So, I mean, they're going to bring the action. They're going to have the energy. They don't have like a lot of miles on their careers yet, and just it's going to be awesome. But I'm looking forward to the Nazimov fight as well. But I mean, I think
I do want to say there as well. Your point about the cage versus the ring is brilliant because, with Nazimov's style, dealing with the wrestling of Yamamoto with that, he's some good offensive grappling, offensive jiu-jitsu. A lot of his takedown defense I saw in UAE Warriors was up against the cage. You know, in the ring, he's not going to have that. He's not going to have the cage to wrestle against, to use to get back up. So the grappling is a lot. He has to work a lot harder to get back to the feet in the ring. So that'll be very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Thanks for that compliment me on that point. Yes, it's fantastic. So we'll see how that plays out, and you know, in the to answer Jay Krish about Nishitani and Takagi. I don't know. I'm leaning towards Takagi because Nishitani is 6-6, so he's looking to get above 500, and Takagi is 6-2, so he's looking to continue, and he's also the younger of the two, so giving him the youth and a little bit momentum wise, giving him the little edge. But we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, they're both featherweights, but the one, just like Izzy was saying, man, the featured one of these two is definitely a Nazimov event. Going to see how he deals with the ring and see if he's going to really separate himself from the pack here to really, just put himself in a position to be featured prominently on the next international event, be it in Uzbekistan or the Middle East or wherever. So we'll see how it plays out, but really looking forward to this one. Absolutely.
Definitely. And yeah, going on to Nishitani and Takagi, it's a very interesting matchup that, Nishitani, the only fight I could see of him was his one RIZIN fight where unfortunately he got knocked out within, the first round, but immediately out the gate in that fight, it was takedown. He landed a brilliant takedown straight off the bat. Your man, his opponent, Hiroaki Suzuki, who was actually meant to be on this card fighting Yaman, but his opponent in that fight got himself up and found the knockout. During that Nishitani, he got a bit carried away and he went for a big flying knee and got caught with a big, I can't remember if it was a right or left hand, but it was a big cross as he went in for the flying knee from Suzuki. So that kind of ended his night there. So if he can fight a bit smarter and not as flashy and stick to his wrestling, he has a good chance here. But Takagi has some brilliant takedown defense. He hits really hard. He's brilliant counter striking. The only thing I see with him is he's always on the back foot. He's always he's circling, but like he's never really pressuring, and he's not the most active. He's quite patient. He's looking for that perfect shot. So I think Nishitani's a bit too explosive. He's very pressure heavy, very explosive. So that could cause problems for Takagi. I don't know if he can deal with that pressure. I'd still pick Takagi to win just because of the takedown defense is so brilliant. And with how Nishitani's approached some previous fights, going in flashy and then paying for it getting knocked out. So I don't know if Nishitani looks back and goes, okay, I need to fix up and fight smart, I could see him winning, but I don't know. I think Rio has the skills to get this done, man, with his brilliant takedown defense, counter striking. I think he'll be able to deal. He's some good experience. I think he'll be able to deal with the pressure on Nishitani.
I see. And now that we basically talked about these fights, and I cannot wait for the 4 featherweight fights on the card, but now that we talked about the 9 fights, that'll be all that everybody will be talking about. All that everybody will be talking about. There's one fight remaining that's just been a mystery to everybody who's actually gave a damn about it. And it has to do with the partnership with RIZIN and the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. And that is, who the hell is the rude boy Tatsuki Shinotsuka going to face off against? And just a little quick background on Shinotsuka. He is 25 years of age, born May 7, 1998 in Kamisu, Ibaraki, Japan. 5'8", 127 pounds. He is a former professional boxer who went 3-1 with 2 knockouts, turned kickboxer, 12-3 with 8 knockouts, going into bare knuckle boxing. So he's basically absorbing everything like a sponge. His only RIZIN Fighting Federation appearance so far after becoming the Crush Featherweight Champion was a win on New Year's Eve over Daichi Tomizawa at RIZIN 45. But, and this comes with a big but here, it goes without saying, who the hell's going to face off against the Rude Boy by the time this event happens? I mean, are we going to have to wait until the VTR stops playing?
Who knows, man? It's I'm not sure about the marketing tactic here because it should be announced. It's getting to the point where it's been so long been announced. I don't even know if they have an opponent. Are they behind the scenes scrambling to find someone? You know, so who knows? I'd imagine, like you said, there could be an announcement at the bare knuckle in where is it, in California this weekend, Saturday?
Yeah, it's right here in LA.
Yeah,
so it's going Saturday. Definitely,
yeah. There could well be an announcement there with that partnership. It's an interesting one, man, because I heard from what I heard, the story from what I read is that Shinosuke went to a bare knuckle event with Sakakibara and told him he loved it and he wanted to do it, and Sakakibara said, "Done. We'll partner with them. We'll get you a bare knuckle fight." You know, my concern is, I don't know. I just want to preface here, I'm not against bare knuckles. It's calm, do whatever, because I'm going to slag it off a bit, but I don't know if it's the smartest career move for Shinosuke. He's still got a really good kickboxing career in his hands. He's 25 years old. He's still very young. He's in his prime right now. Going to do bare knuckle boxing, good chance you're gonna fuck up your hand really, really bad, and that could put his kickboxing career in a lot of jeopardy. That's the only worry I have for him here. That's the main worry with this fight.
Yeah, and we have broached that same concern, and apparently in the Epic RIZIN Discord chat, there was some bare knuckle fans that were saying that they have pioneered some different wrapping techniques, and the statistics of how many fighters have had broken knuckles or broken hands in BKFC is relatively low. I was actually surprised to learn that. Yeah, so hopefully you're absolutely right. That is a huge concern that I share with you about fighters crossing over to BKFC, but apparently they have some kind of new wrapping technique or something that they do that is really cutting down on broken hands, and they have had relatively low number of broken hands and bare knuckles so far. So that is a very encouraging stat. And also another concern about them is that bare knuckle brings a lot of damage to fighters, right? So Rude Boy get his face cut up doing bare knuckle, and it could leave some scar tissue that could be opened up in kickboxing bouts. To where, and in kickboxing bouts where if they get cut, it gets stopped. Especially, Japan is getting better with blood lately, and especially for bare knuckle, they're going to have to get better with blood because the bare knuckle is going to bring the blood, right? So they're going to have to man up about blood. What do you say, Jake?
Correctly, I think this is going to be Japan's first ever bare knuckle boxing fight. The first ever major bare knuckle. I know they had bare knuckle combat before. I can obviously.
Oh yeah, of course.
Part of it.
The old pancreas, all that.
Yeah, no, actually, there was something that happened. I think a couple of years ago. I think Hideki Shirtsukine was a part of it, and a whole host of others. Because I do remember trilling and screaming, announcing for it. But still, though, this is going to be the first major bare knuckle combat fight to take place in Japan, and I don't know a country that's had a good bare knuckle fighting history, unless you count the old days of no holds barred, shoot wrestling.
Yeah, of course, and it's going to bring the blood. We're going to see some blood, so it's going to be interesting to see how they, it's going to basically toughen them up, toughen the audience up to seeing blood and cuts. And like I was saying, RIZIN has been getting better with allowing fighters to continue with cuts, and I've been loving seeing that. So I want to see that continue, and that's part of the reason why I love this collaboration between Bare Knuckle and the Epic RIZIN is because it's gonna force them to be, toughen them up about cuts and bleed, and let the fighters, if they get cut in a fight, they're gonna let it continue, not stop it for like a bloody nose or whatever, or a little tiny cut on the side of their face like they have before. So I'm really looking forward to that. I love the collaboration, and like Izzy was saying, Rude Boy was at an event with Sakaki Barasan and Ren Hiramoto. It was a bare knuckle fight in Florida that they attended, where Rude Boy fell in love with it and was like, I want to do this. And Ren Hiramoto as well was saying he wants a bare knuckle fight. So I could see if Ren Hiramoto, loses his next mixed martial arts bout and he doesn't want to go back to kickboxing, he's going to do bare knuckle as well. So, and he was, of course, Ren Hiramoto, for the viewers that don't know, he was the one half of the announced super fight for Super RIZIN 3 this summer against Mikuru Asakura, the fighter that fought Floyd Mayweather Jr. in the most recent exhibition with Floyd Mayweather Jr. So and he actually rocked Floyd in that fight as well. So that's going to be the main event for the Super RIZIN 3 event, Ren Hiramoto and Mikuru Asakura. And Ren was one of the fighters that was with Rude Boy and Sakaki Barasan in Florida at the BKFC event that fell in love with bare knuckle. And there's also there's a lot of some good money in bare knuckle as well. I'm sure Izzy's concerned about the broken knuckles, broken hands, as well as damage to the face. But I love that it's another avenue for fighters to make money in. And I also love how, it's going to toughen up the Japanese audience to blood and stuff like that. But I'm just really looking forward. And to answer the question, Jay Krish, about, the mystery fighter X, I bet you we're not going to find out until the weigh-ins. I bet you they're going to keep it secret till the weigh-ins. And we were, it was funny, on the RIZIN Discord, we were trying to figure out, based on the silhouette shadow of who the fighter could be. We're looking at the BKFC roster, trying to figure it out. But then, when they were announcing the fights for the June 9th event, RIZIN 47, they used the same silhouette. So it was like, oh no. So it was a different, it wasn't the actual silhouette of the fighter. So the ones that we came up with, we don't know if that's going to be the ones that are announced as Mr. X or not. So it's been real interesting to see. And they've been, they've kept it real secret. We don't know if there's any fighter that's we haven't found on X or anywhere, on Twitter or anywhere, of which BKFC fighter it could be. So it's a real mystery. So I seriously doubt it's going to be someone like a real famous one. Oh, what are you saying, Jay Krish? Go ahead.
Jane, they don't really have, BKFC does not have a vast roster at 125 pounds outside of John Dodson, of course.
Oh, is it 125 pounds or is it 135 pounds?
25.
Oh, 125. Okay. I mean, hey, what if it is Dodson? Well, I guess they wouldn't put, Dodson's their 125-pound champion right now. So yeah. I don't think they want to put him up against Rude Boy. So, go ahead.
No, Dodson's first shot to draw against somebody by the name of Dagoberto.
Yeah, but he retained his belt because it was a draw, and they're probably going to do a rematch for that. So it's not going to be Dodson. It's going to be somebody else on the roster. But they do have a 125-pound roster, so it's going to be interesting to see who it is. And what I really cannot wait to find out, because we're all going to be tuning in to Knuckle Mania on Saturday night. Are they going to announce it, right there on Saturday night? Maybe they'll announce it Saturday night, and that'll be also the weigh-ins will be later on after Knuckle Mania. So we'll get the announcement at Knuckle Mania hopefully, and then we'll get to see the fighter weigh in later on at night. So it's gonna be really interesting to see. I can't wait. I just hope they actually say the Epic RIZIN's name correctly on the Knuckle Mania broadcast, not call it RIZIN.
Of course, yeah.
I love the collaboration, bro. It's awesome. Like we were saying in the intro, there's a bunch of great fighters, like Izzy was saying, Mike Perry and all of them. How great would it be to see him on a superior rule set? Epic RIZIN throwing pride rule strikes and 12-6 elbows, all that good stuff. It'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah,
so what are you saying, Jay Krish?
He would love, Mike Perry would love that, but somebody would need to prevent him from being an asshole toward the Japanese people.
Yeah, that's true. He needs to be under control, man. He has to be under control.
Trying to gain acceptance for. I mean, I know some people right now who are basically going through the struggle of being accepted in Japan despite their skin color. The last thing that, anybody needs to see is another ugly American. No, the last thing anybody needs, aside from that, which of course, shout out to Maurice Shelton. I hope you're keeping up the good fight, brother. But still, though, when it comes down to the Mike Perry situation, somebody's definitely going to need to. I mean, if he's definitely going to Japan, somebody's definitely going to need to keep an eye out on him, because the last thing that they need, both RIZIN and BKFC, is an ugly American situation on their hands.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be Mike Perry. We're just throwing it as like a fantasy matchmaking thing. I think it'll probably be somebody like Eddie Alvarez, because Eddie Alvarez has fought in Japan before. So I can easily see it being him. Plus, they have he's in the lightweight division, 155 pounds. And that's another loaded weight class for the Epic RIZIN. So,
Jay,
what were we saying?
Eddie weighs 155 to 170 pounds. That fight's
that's a division that the Epic RIZIN has. Mike Perry is he fighting at a light heavyweight or 185 pounds at BKFC right now?
He's fighting at whatever he damn well pleases.
he's happy with either, yeah. But yeah, look, it's a very interesting collaboration between the two. I'm all for it. It's great, and I agree with you with the fact it's going to cause scar tissue on Shinotsuka. But what I'm kind of more worried about, because scar tissue, blood is part of the fight game. What I'm more worried about is the invisible damage, the damage to the brain that bare knuckle can cause. With no gloves, you're getting a full impact straight to your head. So that could definitely, put his kickboxing career in jeopardy too. And it's like I'm all for him doing bare knuckle boxing, do whatever you want. It's just, is it the right time for him? I don't know, because bare knuckle boxing is kind of something that, bar John Dodson, most people do at the end of their careers once they've done their kickboxing or MMA, like Mike Perry, Luke Rockhold, Eddie Alvarez, all those guys finish their career, were top level, if not world champion fighters in MMA, and then transition into bare knuckle boxing for the end of their career. I don't know if it's the smartest move for Shinotsuka to do it this young and this in a good kickboxing career that could even blossom into an MMA career with his relationship with RIZIN. So I'm not sure if it's a move I agree with, but regardless, it's an interesting fight, man. It's interesting seeing bare knuckle in RIZIN like this on a card, like bare knuckle on a card with MMA fights is crazy stuff. So yeah.
That's a brilliant point about how being so early in his career to do bare knuckle, and how bare knuckle was like a good place for guys once they finish their mixed martial arts or kickboxing career to go make some extra money as well. So, and that's one of the reasons why we love bare knuckle. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Exactly like Izzy's saying, will this hurt his career in the prime? Hopefully not. Hopefully it'll just be like a supplemental part of his career. Like how like Chihiro's doing kickboxing as well as mixed martial arts right now. Yeah. Could it be blossom into something like that, where Rude Boy does both mixed martial arts and kickboxing and bare knuckle at the same time? Could we see that maybe he could be one of the first fighters that could be like a moonlighting fighter in both bare knuckle and mixed martial arts and kickboxing? So it'll be real interesting to see how that plays out. If if there is new wrapping techniques in the hands to protect his hands from being broken, all that good stuff. A lot of good questions, a lot of good interesting stuff to pay attention to, and just, man, I just can't wait. It's gonna be awesome. Exactly like Izzy was saying, it's a brilliant addition to the card, and plus it's also in a ring as well. It's a great complement to mixed martial arts events in the ring, because bare knuckle's also in a ring as well, right? So it's just, man, I just love it. And I love the collaboration. Can't wait to see what other fighters come over. And I hope that they announce the fight at Bare Knuckle Mania in LA on Saturday night. And it's going to be interesting to see, is David Feldman going to hop on a plane right after Knuckle Mania and fly over to Japan to be here for the first bare knuckle fight with the fighter? Or how's that going to work? Is the fighter already in Japan ready to go. I mean, there's so many cool questions about it. I just can't wait to see how it plays out.
If David Feldman ends up flying over to Japan immediately after Knucklemania to be a part of the first Bare Knuckle RIZIN, he's gonna have a hell of a lot of jet lag to deal with.
Well, I mean, he'll basically get off the plane and be right there at the fight.
Yeah.
Right? He'll get on the plane Saturday night and be in the fight Sunday night, ready to go.
Pretty much, like, yeah. You know.
But still,
So, hey, is that the whole card? Did we get through the whole card in the exact time frame we were supposed to?
that's
awesome.
He basically ran through the entire 10-fight card, and I would ask, what are you most looking forward to going into this card? I guess 9 of the 10 fights are definitely going to be must watch. The Bare Knuckle fight mystery, but compared to this, obviously RIZIN had to change their card up and push it back a week because of the big Naoya Monster Inoue versus Luis Pantera Neri fight that's going to take place at the Tokyo Dome next weekend. I gotta ask, if you were to compare this card to the Neri versus Inoue fight card, would you say that this particular event, RIZIN 46, would hold their own against a card like Inoue versus Neri?
I think it could. I think it could do well. I don't think it will beat out Inoue Neri because that card is brilliant. That has 4 world title fights on a boxing card. That's brilliant. Like, that's amazing. This only has one world title fight, but it has a lot of other interesting fights. It has the Japan versus Korea dynamic. It has the bare knuckle boxing. Like, it has some really interesting points on the card. They even, someone who's not a fan, who's never watched RIZIN before, maybe even never watched MMA before, can look at this and go, okay, that's interesting. Like, that's something I might want to watch, But it's the same with the boxing card. I think of how mainstream boxing is, I think obviously Inoue Neri card will beat it out. But I still think this card will do well. I just don't think it will hit the mainstream audience that Inoue Neri will, especially with a bare knuckle fight on the card. I feel like that might turn away a few, regular people. Like, they might be a bit too violent for a lot of people. But, I think it will still do well. But I do think it is slightly overshadowed by RIZIN 47 and Super RIZIN 3 coming up that are looking brilliant. Despite Chihiro Suzuki being the top of this card, budding star coming up, so he'll definitely do bits for them. But Haraguchi and Ren Hiromoto are big stars themselves, so it'll be interesting to see how this card stacks up against other Japanese fight cards in the next coming 2-3 months.
Yeah, 100% agree with Izzy. I think that it's unfair to compare it to a big boxing card that Inoue and 4 title fights on it. So, but this one it's going to hold its own, 100%. Just like we said, the main event alone, with all the implications from the main event with Chihiro Suzuki and Kanehara, if Chihiro wins, he's going to face Patricio Pitbull at the end of the year. I mean, it's huge implications besides just defending this title. So it's just, I mean, it can hold its own, but it's unfair to compare it to a massive boxing card like Inoue. There's a reason why the date was moved to avoid the Inoue fight, right? So So, but hey, Jake, can we get back to which ones we want to see the most on this card? Like the ones we're looking forward to the most, or no?
Yeah,
you want to do something else?
We have to at least adhere to the overrun. At least be quick about it,
Okay, we'll get done quick. My most anticipated fight, personally, is the Shinobu Ota Juntaro Usuki fight for me, just because I'm such a big fan of Ota. Next then will be the Suzuki Kanehara fight. That's brilliant. So those two for sure. Main and co-main event looking amazing.
Okay.
Nice. I love that you picked the Ushiku Ota fight. Man, fantastic. That's great. I want to pick one besides the main event. Obviously, the main event is the big, marquee fight of this card, but I want to pick something else besides that one, and I want to pick something else besides the one that Izzy picked. So I'm going to go with Kolesnik and also the Nazimov fight. You know, but I think I'm going to pick Kolesnik and Nakahara. I really think that one could be, if not for a title contender, it could definitely be, the winner of that could be in a title eliminator fight next. Like I could easily see the winner of that fight between Kolesnik and Nakahara facing the winner of Kleber and Juan Archuleta for a #1 contender fight. And that, of course, that's the one that's coming up just June 9th is Kleber Koecki versus Juan Archuleta. We don't know if that's a title eliminator or not, but I could definitely see the winner of that versus the winner of Kolesnik Nakahara. That could easily be a #1 contender fight, easily. And because they're going to need to do something like that, especially if Chihiro wins the main event, which is really the fight of the card, 100%. Because if he wins, and they're going to want to keep him fresh for Patricio Pound for Pound Pitbull on New Year's Eve, right? So after this fight, if Chihiro's able to pull off the win, he's probably going to go to kickboxing for the rest of the year until New Year's Eve when he faces Patricio Pound for Pound Pitbull. So it's going to be real interesting to see. That's why I'm going to pick Kolesnik and Nakahara, because the winner of that could determine the next title contender facing Kleber and Archuleta. So just a lot of storylines on this card. And we just went into a couple of them right there, and there's a lot more. So it's just, man, it's a brilliant card, like Izzy's saying, and just, man, I can't wait to watch it with you guys. It's gonna be awesome.
Brilliant pick.
Thanks, brother.
I don't know if I'm even gonna be looking forward to any particular fights aside from the main event and obviously the bare knuckle fight, but still, though, I'm glad that it's gonna be. I mean, yeah, I'm going to be forcing myself to stay up to watch it because it's going to be on at 2 a.m. Central Standard Time. But still, though, I'm definitely going to enjoy watching this event take place. You know, whether or not we can get the chance to watch it on RIZIN.TV with English language commentators, which, oh, by the way, real quick, Izzy, what are your thoughts about the English commentary in RIZIN?
I don't know. Is it still the same commentators they had on Triller last year? Is it still those two, Joe Ferrara? Yeah. I kind of had little problems with it on Triller. I don't know if it was a Triller thing or was it a RIZIN thing, but on the New Year's Eve show, it was like a second delay. That was really, really annoying. And I feel like it kind of takes away from the fact because they're not at the event. They're on a video call, right? They're remotely commentating. I think that takes away, but I think if they were at the event, if they were ringside, it would be much, higher quality, much better energy for them. Like, it would just be much more exciting to hear with the English commentary. So I definitely prefer the Japanese commentary, but good stuff from Joe Ferrara on the lads. I just kind of wish that RIZIN would sort out the delay issue and actually bring them to the event. It would be much better energy that way, I think, personally.
But still, though, for me, aside from, the fact that I'm going to be forcing myself to stay up at 2 a.m. just to watch this shit, still.
You don't have to. You can watch the replay. I know a lot of people are going to watch the replay because... Oh, go ahead.
I can definitely watch the replay. Wink. Matter is, regardless, I don't really care about picking and choosing any particular fights. I'm just hoping to see some excitement, especially considering the fact that we've been wanting to see some action for so long. And it's just crazy that, even though RIZIN does events quarterly in the case, I mean, their next event after this won't be until June. They're taking the whole month of May off after this. And it kind of makes you think, what the hell are they going to do in the interim? But still, though, for the time that they're going to have us watch, it's going to be something epic because, as you say, Jay Wolf, it's the epic RIZIN, and it's going to basically blow everybody's mind.
Yes, and hopefully we see a bunch of superior rule set action. We've had a kind of a little drought of that. On the most recent RIZIN Landmark event, there was only one fight. Satoshi DeSouza, he was the only one that had some superior rule set action. Remember, he won the fight with the soccer kick TKO, right? And carried the main event. So hopefully this fight, all the fighters know the assignment, know we want to see some superior rule set, pride rule striking, and we get some great action from this event. And you know, and it is on a weird time schedule. It's on a Sunday night here in America and a Monday morning in Europe time zone. So, you know, it's a good thing they allow the replay, and that's going to be on RIZIN TV. And hopefully, remember they to address Izzy's concerns about the commentary. The most previous event, RIZIN Landmark 9, that was not aired live on the RIZIN.tv because they were supposed to be working on the stream, working through those problems, exactly like Izzy was saying about the second delay and the remote commentary because the volume was messed up, right? They had the volume too high on it to where, like, Damian Brown, whenever something awesome would happen, he'd go, oh, and like blow out your speakers, right? If you had the volume too high. So hopefully they got that fixed. You know, there's no more second delay. The audio is right. Hopefully that's what they were doing on the RIZIN Landmark 9 show. That's why it wasn't offered live. But this one is offered live. And just like Izzy was saying, with the replay available for 14 days afterwards. So if you can't stay up on Sunday night or Monday morning to watch it, if you got to go to work, and you know, I took the day off personally. Like a month ago, I was prepared for this. So if I know a lot of people aren't going to be able to, so that's why you don't worry about it. There's a replay option available. Just make sure you get it on RIZIN.tv and support the Epic RIZIN Superior Rule Set. And it's going to be an awesome, brilliant card, as Izzy would say. Absolutely brilliant. Hopefully it brings the action like we want.
Of course, of course. And now that we completely overran the overrun, I think it's about to go ahead and put a bow on this, but I'll save my rant for the PFL for last. Izzy, you go first as we put over you and your team at Combat Sports today.
Yeah, you know, just follow us. I don't know what to say, man. Follow us. You know, Twitter is DOA, Instagram is DOA, or my main account is Dara_Lawson. That's my real name. So you can follow me on either of those. Follow at CS Today News on whatever social media you use, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. We're on there. We post. We have news about all combat sports. We cover everything. We have a big, good team behind us. We make sure we get as many bits of news as possible. Post all the time. So yeah, follow us if you want to stay up to date on combat sports in general, more than just MMA or just boxing or just kickboxing. We cover everything. So if that's your kind of thing, if you want to follow everything, follow us, man.
Okay, that's
absolutely. It's absolutely brilliant, and you say brilliant, it's Daryl, absolutely brilliant appearance today on the Focus Fights. Just love it, and to all the Combat Sports Today family that tuned in and was leaving us comments and everything, man, it was so much fun. This is literally one of the best Focus Fights previews that we've ever done, I think, in the history of this show. So there's a lot of thanks to you, Izzy, Daryl, and the Combat Sports Today family. It was just awesome. Just loved having you guys here. Hope to have you on again sometime. And I can't wait to watch the event with you guys. And if you want to follow me, I'm on Twitter at jwolf.com. Well, it's misspelled because that's how it was spelled way back in the day when I first started commenting on the Yahoo message boards, because there was like a million other Jwolf. So I just said, you know what, forget it. It's going to be JAYYOF1. And it just stuck from there on. It's easy to search. And just follow me, and if you're a real person, I'll follow you right back. I immediately follow back. Then on the Discord channel, look at this lovely banner that Jay Krish has up for us. That's the RIZIN Discord. It's so much fun. I like it better than any of the public, social media that people do. It's just awesome. It's so much fun. Join us there. We watch the fights there. You just don't post any illegal links. That's it. That's the only rule. And it's so much fun. And so if you follow me, I'll follow you right back. And come join us in the Discord and follow all of Izzy's accounts and the Combat Sports Today family. Follow all their accounts. think again, another shout out to them as well. And Izzy, again, another shout out to you for that sensational question, the Patricio pound for pound pitbull asking about the Chihiro Suzuki rematch. Man, that was just awesome. Just loved it. So and to you, Jay Krish, as well. Dude, thank you to you as well for having us and hosting this event and doing these focus fight shows. It's just a lot of fun. I can't wait to watch the show with you. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, man, this was a brilliant conversation, lads. So thank you both of you for this. This was solid. This was great.
You're welcome. And I know that you're going to be closing the show out, Jay Wolf, in a moment. I know you got the Lenny Hart soundbite queued up. I just need to... yeah, I just want to get something off my chest before I put my, social handles and the Focus Fight social handles. And I don't know if y'all know this. I mean, I know that Izzy were part of Bellator Double Ball about 4 weeks ago now. Yeah. Turns out I basically was on the media call and I was disappointed that the only question I ended up getting out of a 2-hour span was with the Irish amateur Nathan Kelly, who obviously won his fight in that showcase on that card. And I was basically sitting up on that damn day 2 hours, bored out of my fucking mind. It was like that the following PFL card when they were in San Antonio. The thing was, when it came down to this card in Dublin, I was so pissed off. I was so bored that up until the final interview of the day, which was Corey Overtime Anderson, who is now the Bellator light heavyweight champion, they got down to the final question. I basically, unmuted myself, let out a big whoa. And luckily, somebody from that dais, I can't remember who it was. I think I might have to look back at the footage again just to clarify who it was. I mean, you probably might know him more than I do, Izzy. But still, though, they let me have the floor, ask the final 2 questions of the interview. And all in all, it was a fun time, despite the 2-hour-long waste of time. Me sitting on my ass for an interview after luckily I was able to get the first and the last interviews of the damn day. So yeah, that was pretty fun. The thing was, and this was weird to me, when the PFL had their San Antonio, about a 200-mile drive west from where I'm sitting right now, they did not let me. I mean, I had my hand raised on the Zoom stream, wanting to ask questions of everybody on the card. I mean, especially I wanted to ask Kana Watanabe a question, but I mean, yeah, she may understand English, but it was too hard to comprehend, her sitting over there just waiting for everybody to ask her questions, especially the ones I usually ask. I mean, point of the matter is, when it came down to that particular instance, it was after the PFL San Antonio card where I ended up getting no notifications from the PFL or Bellator side of things. And, it just sucked for me because I was basically waiting for the calls, seeing the PFL results just fly by. Then all of a sudden, not even 2 or 3 weeks after the fact, I ended up getting an email from their PR team. I'm not going to name the 2 women who are a part of that team, who basically make up that team, so to speak, but they're like the bones, the brains, and the operations of it. One of them said, we basically were sent into an account that you booed. So we're gonna ban you from getting all these media inquiries from all of our interests: PFL, MENA, Europe, and Bellator. And at first I was like, okay, why the fuck did y'all have me sit around for 2 hours boring me?
Wait, Jay Krish, they ban you just for booing? Yes. Are you kidding me?
Yes, they banned me just for booing. And
That's ridiculous.
yes, that is completely fucking ridiculous. But I now realize, as a member, I guess we recall this show is now considered, I guess, media. There's a certain decorum you have to behave under as members of the media. You don't want to be like that perv from the Indianapolis Star who basically asked Caitlin Clark a question and just tried to be all freaky. But still,
Yeah. That we could see that being a bannable offense, but not just booing. That's ridiculous. Hopefully they'll lift that. You should send them an email back saying, "Hey, sorry about that. I just was frustrated from sitting on a call for 2 hours, and it won't happen again. Please lift the ban," and see what they say.
yeah, Jay, I already tried that. It ain't gonna work, and it's like, I don't know. It's probably ironclad to the point of I'm gonna be banned for the rest of the year for the PFL Bellator family, which will also unfortunately include the big Bellator year-end show in Japan on New Year's Eve. But hopefully I can figure something out. It's just the fact that I respect what the PFL is doing. I respect all the members of the media that I basically sat on those calls with, and I really enjoyed the time I had over there. But if you're basically going to ban me just for basically being, I guess in some cases, just for booing, maybe you need to look at your own self in the mirror and realize realize the people that you're leaving behind. Realize the people that you can't sign or you're having trouble signing. In the case of Gegard Mousasi, Darian Caldwell, and Alejandra Luna, who you basically told, hey, we have no space for you, but hey, go take that fight and combat your global. All we care. Yeah, you're basically leaving you're basically leaving great fighters out there with nothing else to do. And Darian Caldwell especially just took a fight in the LFA. But still,
Yeah, there's also, besides Gegard Mousasi, do you see the Chablis? He's having a problem because they're not honoring the Bellator Lightweight Grand Prix and not honoring that $1 million purse for that. And also, there was another fighter, Sabah Hamasi, who was talking about how he had medical bills that were unpaid that the PFL is not reimbursing him for. So a lot of questionable activities going on, and this is really disheartening. It's upsetting to see. And they should not extend that to the media, and they should rescind the ban, especially for the New Year's Eve event. If it's going to be collaboration with the Epic RIZIN, that's ridiculous. I would send them another email around that New Year's Eve time and be like, hey, this is what we do. I'm part of the We Are RIZIN podcast as well as the Focus Fights podcast. And RIZIN we're one of the only media now. That's another thing. Combat Sports Today, Focus Fights, We Are RIZIN podcast. Some of the only media, excuse me, one of the only media that gives coverage to the Epic RIZIN Fighting Federation in Japan. None of these other like MMA fighting, all of them, the quote unquote mainstream media, none of them even, they'll give like a pity tweet, a pity post or two, the night of or a weigh-ins article. That's it. Maybe sometimes a results article. That's it. Nothing like the coverage that we get. So Chris, they should definitely rescind that ban, hopefully around New Year's Eve for the collaboration event with the Epic RIZIN. So I would try again around then and tell them, be like, hey, I'm part of the only media that gives you guys coverage. So undo this unjust ban. You ban for the whole freaking year over booing. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I definitely will look back toward that, by the end of the year and see what they think about it. See what the two, and I'm not going to mention their names respectively. I'm just going to say the two I can't even fucking say it, but still though, I'm going to let the two women who run the PR team for the PFL and Bellator, because it's really a tight with just those two. But I'm going to let the Bellator and PFL PR team know about that we're the only people to actually give a shit about RIZIN. And, it's not just about, let's see what most clicks. Let's see what can get the most likes. Let's see if people don't know we're writing in AI. Seriously.
Yeah. I mean, just make that point to them that we're part of the only people that actually cover them for RIZIN event. You know, it's just that's RIZIN is what we do, right? That's the only. I mean, just they'll do it. Don't even trip. I can't see them not unbanning you for that. I mean, especially after a full year of being banned just for booing. So don't even trip. Let's just send this off here. We're gonna hit 2 hours 29 minutes exactly. So let's do the send off right now. This is a fantastic show.
Let me go ahead and finish first, and I'll go ahead and finish off by saying this. Y'all, I understand. I'll take my lump on the chin. I'll if it's through the rest of the year, that's fine. You know, I'll miss the people I had camaraderie with. I'll miss the people that I followed because of this stuff. And I will miss the excitement that I actually enjoy being on these calls, even though when it came down to that PFL San Antonio, one broad basically was picked by the OnlyFans page. But still, I just want to have fun. And if doing these calls, it basically means I won't be having fun for a while. Oh, well, so be it. I'll just keep hustling for interviews like I always do. But if you're banning me just because of booing, just to basically say, oh, you know, the media can't do this, the media can't do that, maybe you should look at your own damn selves in the mirror. Like how the Saudi deal came about before you got your ass handed to you upside down. Before basically judging what the media can and can't do. And that's all I gotta say about that. Let's
take the outro here.
Let me go ahead and put myself over. I have been J. Christian Gary. And if you want to follow me and all that I have to offer, or follow all that Focus Fights have to offer, you can go on and check the link in the description below. And of course, check out the We Are RIZIN. Well, actually, check out the RIZIN FF Fans Discord. The link is in the description below. And if you have to enjoy what you watched over the last 2 hours and 30 minutes, be sure to give us a little subscribe. And, you know, maybe we'll actually do our damnedest to, I mean, let's just face it. We're not like that other site, you know, Fight Focus. We don't do videos just for shits and giggles. We basically do full-blown content. We do interviews. We basically help those who basically want to put themselves over to a wider audience. And that's what I hope to do by, you know, hoping to put out more of these episodes of the podcast, be in audio and video form, you know, within the next few months. I think we're going to make some changes to the audio side of things. But
get your Wi-Fi up. Get your Wi-Fi up.
My links, follow the Focus Fights, join the Discord, check it out in the description below. Jay Wolf, I think you know what time it is.
You know what time. I just want to shout out the Combat Sports family again today, and Izzy Doa. Great having you on, brother, and great having the Combat Sports Today family and the comments, everything. It's fantastic. And you know what we always send this out? You know how it goes, Jay Krish? It's pride never die. Pride is RIZIN.
Oh, but don't you also have the sound bite? I mean, I'm going to.
I thought you had the sound bite. You don't have the. Oh no! You don't have the Lenny Legend sound bite.
I'm watching AEW right now.
Oh no!
Fuck it.
That's all right. That's all right.
You know what? I'll say it. I mean, even though Lenny Hart's gonna hate me for mocking her style, but still, 1, 2, 3.
We are RIZIN, and we out.
See you, man.
Brilliant. That was awesome.
Plus.
And with that, we say deuces and see y'all next time.
See ya. Thank you lot for watching, all of you.
Absolutely.
Stop, man.